stepped to the plate with the bases jammed.
Into the glove of Dan Wilson, who hangs on good.
Okay. Remember, it's the Players Cast. Oh, I like that. Players Cast tonight. Debuting. Okay. Okay.
Flowers stepped to the plate with the bases jammed.
Into the glove of Dan Wilson, who hangs on good.
Welcome to Safeco Field, a special night at the park because we've got our first Players Cast of the regular season. We've done this in spring training. It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to debuting it tonight as we get you set for Game 2 of the 4-game series here at Safeco. Tigers and Mariners up in the booth. We've got not one, not two, but 3 former Mariners getting ready to talk about this game and give you the insights only players can. Our Players Cast. It's Mike Flowers, it's Dan Wilson, it's Ryan Rowland-Smith. Gentlemen, looking good. Take it away, Mike.
Well, Ryan and Dan, it's great to have you guys up here. We actually don't have anybody to do play-by-play. We have Dave Sims, Rick Riz over on the radio side of things. They're rehabbing right now, and Aaron Goldsmith is in Toronto doing a national game. So the 3 of us are going to have some fun with this one tonight.
Absolutely. And the one thing, guys, I have missed is being on the top step of the dugout, having those conversations. So I can't wait. It's going to be a blast.
Lot to talk about tonight. D. Gordon at second base. Cruiser back in the lineup. This should be a great ball game for everybody.
Felix on the mound. Michael Fulmer is pitching for the Tigers, all-star last year. And it's strange how you go through your career, and there are certain teams, I know for myself, certain teams that you maybe hit a little better than others. And for Felix here in this place against the Tigers, he's dominated. ERA under 2 in his last 6 outings against the Tigers. Hopefully that'll be the same today.
Yeah, he's really dominated these guys. And it's, you know, obviously you get the King's Court, you get home. They've had a couple of days now to recover from that road trip that we talked about, Mike, that was so tough on the Mariners with the doubleheader and the extra game in Minnesota. And now Felix a chance to get back out there on the mound against a team he's had success with. I expect a good ball game from him tonight.
Plus it's a Friday night. Weather's starting to warm up. We see a lot of yellow down the left field line.
I saw James Paxton before the game going out for his no-hitter there, recognizing him, and I thought it was funny when you say the Cards, they actually have some up in the maple tree in left field.
That's awesome.
Pretty good combination of pitchers.
There's that good curveball from Felix. Big key for him tonight is set up with that fastball. I know we've talked a lot about the changeup and the curveball, how good they've been, and mixing them in a lot more early in counts. But man, when he can get that good fastball on both sides of the plate with that run, everyone talks about the velocity, but he has a ton of run on that pitch, and there's a good one right there as well. That's going to just set up that curveball and that changeup. That's about finding that rhythm, that first inning, get that good feel. He's faced Leonis Martin a ton. So it's going to be important that first inning, establish that pitch.
And then for me, you look at Felix this year, it's a little bit unusual, and I know he's doing some things differently, throwing his curveball more than his changeup. But for me, it's good to see a ground ball right there. The ball has been in the air, something that Felix has talked about, 10 home runs this year. that he's given up. I think for him, if he can get back down to the bottom of the zone and pick his spots to get up top to put hitters away, but keep the ball on the ground.
Yeah, that's huge. And in this ballpark, he does. You want to keep the ball on the ground, and you mentioned it. Doesn't have the success that he would like when his ball is up and he gets hit for a lot of home runs. If he gives up a home run or less in a ball game, he has much better luck in the ball game. So looking to keep the ball down, looking to keep the ball out of the air, keep it in the ballpark. And you mentioned the curveball is Ryan Healy's fielding this pop up at first base. But you mentioned the curveball, and Ryan, I think it's a great point. His fastball is going to be key. Doesn't have the velocity that he's had. We've talked about that. Averaging around 89 to 91, something like that. But still can use it on both sides of the plate. And I think that's what you're getting at is being able to control both sides of the plate with that fastball. Yeah,
and have that conviction too. We saw him last time out against the same team, the Detroit Tigers. I feel like he was trying to be perfect with that pitch and let that ball run and try and nibble a little bit. Felix is at his best. I don't care if he's 95 or he's 90 or he's 88, whatever it is. When he has that conviction and he just trusts the fact that that ball's going to do what it's going to do, it still has a ton of life at the end. He's going to be okay. And then, again, like you said, it just sets up that really good breaking ball, and of course that changeup with 2 strikes.
Well, a couple of good signs for him here in the first inning. We've seen him hit 91 a number of times, 3 batters, 3 first pitch strikes, so working ahead. All big keys for him as he moves forward in this game.
And the 2 numbers you look at, he's got 2 outs, 10 pitches in. And you can see those counts too, the 1-1 count, but he's been ahead early. That's important too.
I think the one thing with him, just watching him in every start, it always seems that he's right there to turn that corner, and then it's 1 pitch. You see this line drive out on the left. Gamble will be able to cut it off, hold him to a single. But it's that 1 pitch in an inning, whether it's a walk or hitting it, all of a sudden something happens. Things get away from him a little bit. Some of it has been bad luck too. I mean, he's left a couple of games where he's put some runners on, but then those runners end up scoring when he's out of the game, and that hurts the ERA overall too. When typically the guys are going to take care of business to get out of that inning, and it really hasn't happened for him. So there's been some tough luck in there also. Yeah,
there has. And I think too with Felix, and this is something that you go back 5 years or 2 years ago. A lot more this year, second guessing, getting a good feel for what he's trying to do early in the count. We saw that pitch with that 1-1, good breaking ball. But you mentioned it too, Mike, and you've seen some of these outings he's had. It comes down that 1 pitch where you can guess, you can go away on the drive home and say to yourself, man, was that the right pitch? Was that the right location? That second guessing that he hasn't had to do his whole career because he's just had that stuff just to beat guys.
You just saw a look at the defense. It'll be interesting. D. Gordon again getting the start at second base. And you can see the Mariners in the shift and how deep he was playing out towards right field.
Tough handle there for Mike Z. So looking at the numbers, Mike's done a good job throwing runners out this year. 43%, league average about 27%, Mike. So he's done a really nice job. And obviously pitchers have a big effect upon that too, keeping runners close. I know they do a good job of that, getting the ball to the plate. With some speed to it, with not taking a lot of time to get it there. So Mariners' staff in general has done a nice job of that, and Z's done a nice job throwing, and I know it's something he takes a lot of pride in as well.
Yeah, did you ever have those pitches that you just had to constantly remind to be quicker to the plate? Had to give him the old quick step, slide step sign every single time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's that's kind of the part of the repertoire really is you've got with pitchers out there, you've got throw over. You got a pitcher that can actually just stand there with the ball, hold the ball, see, try to get an idea of what the runner's trying to do. You can slide step, which is probably the most common, where pitcher just takes a much quicker delivery to the plate, trying to get it to the catcher. Obviously, everybody's a little bit different. Your goal is shooting for 1.3 and below to give the catcher a chance to throw a guy out at second base.
I think Felix is going to be in good shape if he gets that fastball called for a strike. It was off the plate, was able to get it called for a strike. He's back with the curveball. That's the other thing. Felix has done this throughout his career. Doesn't matter where his velocity's been. He will not give in to hitters. And you look over the course of his career in situations like this, men in scoring position when he's typically at his best. And I like the fact that he didn't give in to Victor Martinez. You have first base open. This is a veteran hitter that's been around. Don't give in to him, and he didn't with the curveball. And now for Martinez, he's stepping back in, wondering what is it going to be. Will it be the fastball away? We know about the changeup. By the way, his changeup is still terrific. Opponent's hitting just 175 on his changeup.
My bet's on the changeup, Flo.
Fastball.
Looked like a two-seamer that just kind of ran off the outside edge.
Well, he was going to make his pitch, or he loses him. That's okay. We'll start over on the next hitter. You have a young hitter walking up to the plate now. Former Mariner John Hicks. Swinging the bat well for him.
And you know what, too? You look at the numbers. John Hicks, like you said, has been swinging the bat well. But when you're in that situation, you have an open base. I would prefer to face a young guy who's hitting the ball a lot better than obviously Victor Martinez, because that veteran guy, you just know if you make that mistake, he's going to make you pay.
John Hicks came up as a catcher in our organization, Mike, and a really good kid out of the University of Virginia, and great to see him in the big leagues. You know, as young players, and you have them in the minor leagues, you obviously want them to be a part of your organization in the big leagues, but when you see them in the big leagues in another organization, it's nice to see these guys get here and have a chance to play.
Well, you're right. Mel Stottlemyre making a trip out to the mound. A couple of hitters counts now. Felix now at 19 pitches, nine strikes so far.
I think more than anything, Mel's reading that body language too. You can see this from Felix. He doesn't have that good feel for that fastball or that command in general early on. He starts to show signs of frustration. I think Mel does such a good job of recognizing that from his staff, giving him that breath and just reminding him at one pitch away right here.
Mound visit.
Has that been a factor at all this year?
I think this year I've seen it one time, maybe twice with the Mariners, where they were getting down to their last one. Right. But outside of that, it really hasn't. And you look at it, you wouldn't think over the course of a game that 6 mound visits is a lot, but it really is. Yeah. I think the one thing that it has controlled is the catchers.
Yeah, and I think to me,
yes, I'm
that's the
right
worst part. Because I know it does enter in guys' minds. You know, obviously in the minor leagues, it's a little bit different. They are limiting trips, not quite as much as they are here. But it is something that the catchers have to keep in mind, especially early in the ballgame. Obviously, you don't want to burn up a lot of trips early in the game, and then when you need them late in the game, not have any. And so it definitely is something that enters into the mind, and you've got to have. You know, Z's going to have a really good reason to go out there, especially early in the game.
A couple of fastballs. You get back in the count 3-0. It was a fastball in the outside corner. Hicks swinging away. You would expect that. They have a young hitter behind him also. And then he comes right back inside with a good two-seamer.
It's a good pitch in there. Good job by Z to frame it up, too. Just off the plate, got the strike. That's a big strike right there.
Runs are going to score.
Mike, that's that one pitch you're talking about in the inning, obviously happening a lot earlier. You can see right here, this is a fastball, middle center cut. And Dan, you're talking about a changeup to Victor Martinez. Is this a fastball? Felix is challenging guys, but that pitch is just way too hittable against a guy like John Hicks, who is locked in right now.
Well, we've talked about the two-seamer a little bit, and obviously a good pitch for Felix, especially when he throws it glove side like that, to be able to get that ball to come back on the outside corners. Hitters give up on it early, and it comes back to catch the outside corner. The trouble with that pitch is when you start it on the plate, it ends up middle of the plate, and that's what you saw there with Hicksy, and he was able to put a pretty good swing on it. Yeah,
and usually, 3-2 as well. That pitch, you want to give it a little bit more play. You can't afford to walk your second guy early in the game.
Quickly ahead, see if he can get out of the inning.
See that good changeup, 0-2.
Unfortunately, he's having to throw a lot of pitches here in the first 25 pitches. 14 strikes for Felix. I have to admit, I was a little bit surprised to see that ball hit the wall. I thought it was going to be a fly ball that already was going to be able to run down. A lot of carry to it. Doesn't look like there's much wind at all here at the ballpark today. Not much of a breeze.
Yeah, that flag is dead out there. That ball carried a long way.
That pitch middle again, 0-2. That's a pitch that you really have to expand the zone. Felix has the ability to do that. We've talked about the changeup. Still haven't seen that changeup in big counts yet. I'll tell you what, these Detroit Tigers, they've got a bunch of young guys who can swing it.
Well, what they are is they're super aggressive. They want to swing the bats. On the season, they're hitting .237 with runners in scoring position, but 2 for 2 so far here in the first.
We talked about the offense coming alive hopefully tonight with Cruiser back in there. Obviously not how they
That's a big lift for them.
This is not how they would have scripted it to start with, but you know, it's going to give their offense a chance to do some work tonight.
It's that I've been here before. We've given up a couple runs early. You go out to the bullpen to start your warm-up tosses and you script it in your head how you want the day to go. You want to establish, you want to get ahead, you want to start cruising through the first couple of innings. Sometimes it just doesn't happen that way, and this is mentally such a challenge. And you've given up a couple early in the game, and then it comes down to, it's not a situation where you have to try and salvage this game. You have to get away from anchoring on what had just happened, let it go, and just get the next guy. Again, easier said than done. It's probably like when you're 0 for 20 and you're sitting on that slump and you go, okay, just give me one pitch down the middle.
He's starting to use his changeup now. A couple of changeups to McCann.
And you can see the swings too out in front, getting off the end of the bat. Now, to your point, Mike, previously just a couple of pitches and it happens quickly, and these guys put a 3-spot up pretty quick.
And Mariners going to have to swing the bats. 3 runs for the Tigers in the top of the first. Welcome back to Safeco Field. Mariners starting lineup is brought to you by Jack in the Box. A couple of 300 hitters for the Mariners to lead things off. D. Gordon leading off. Then it's Gene Segura. It's good to have Nelson Cruz, the DH. He will be the cleanup hitter tonight. And Guillermo Heredia rounds out the 9 for the Mariners. He had 3 hits in yesterday's ball game.
Well, one thing we've seen from this club is comeback wins, and this is going to be another one tonight. They've got a lot of fight in them. They've had fight all year.
Yeah.
And just going to have to start swinging it early. And, you know, we've talked about the ability, too, of this club to tack runs on, and you know they're just going to have to continue to find ways throughout the entire ball game to score runs.
This is something I talked about with the team, and in the last few days it's been difficult for the offense, and they do need to get back on track. It's great to have Nelson back in the line. That will help.
Yes.
But I think the one thing, and I made this comment probably about a week to 10 days ago before they had that rough spell on the road trip where they had the doubleheader and all the rain and everything else. But if you're a starting pitcher and you have a tough first inning like Felix has, if you can settle down and just hang in there and keep the score there, you have a pretty good chance for this offense to come back for you. And Felix has seen that a couple of times, and it's one of the reasons why he has 5 wins on the year.
Absolutely, and you know, I can remember from playing too that if you're going to get to a good pitcher, if you're going to get to a quality starter, you've got to get to him early before he gets to that point like you're talking about, where he gets settled into the ball game and then he really starts to dial it in. So obviously they got to him early, but now the Mariners have a chance to kind of come back as D. Gordon grounds out that first out of the inning.
And as I mentioned, you know, with Michael Fulmer, the starter, he was an all-star last year, but he's off to a little bit of a rocky start. ERA at a 4.37. Trying to figure things out with his fastball, changeup, and his slider. His slider's been a better pitch for him this year, but if the Mariners can get after the fastball, which is what they did the first time they saw him, they were in pretty good shape.
That was 5 days ago too.
Yeah, against the Mariners, 4 1/3. Ended up giving up 6 earned runs and had to throw 98 pitches to get through 4 1/3. So they wore him out.
Yeah, he talked about Felix coming back after having that rough first inning, and that's that conversation you got to have with yourself and say, look, all right, that's done. Let's reset and let's go again. It is the toughest thing to do when you get off to that bad start, because like I said, you had scripted how you wanted the day to go, but the guys who can sustain at this level, and this is a guy who has done that. He's had these innings before. You have to sit in the dugout. You've got, you know, about a good 5 to 10 minutes. You know what? Figure out what it was you did that last inning, and say, all right, let's start again. First inning, first inning, first inning.
Well, you mentioned it for Felix. He's done it throughout his career. I don't really worry about that part of it for him. Dan, as a catcher, do you go talk to him, or do you just let him go down and sit for a minute and let him think about it, or what do you do?
I think yes. Both.
Yes, yeah.
I think part of it is what is it that you're seeing behind there, and obviously give him some time, give him a little bit of space, but then be able to go over there and talk to him about it. I think Felix is one of those types of guys where he's approachable, and you can talk to him about what you've seen back there. He's going to listen to you, and then he's going to start, like to what Ryan said, put his game plan together for the rest of the ball game. But I do think that communication in the dugout between innings is really, really important between the battery, because catchers can see things a lot of times that pitchers cannot see on the mound. And some guys, now a guy like Felix Hernandez who's been around the league, he knows the league, but he also probably has the ability to read swings from out on the mound.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
But there are some guys that cannot do that at the same time. But Mike Zunino can see swings. He can see a lot of things from home plate that a pitcher just can't see. And so that's why you really need to be sharing information in between innings, so that you're both on the same page and you're both understanding what the team is trying to do to you.
How often, as a catcher, is a message delivered to you to deliver to the pitcher, whether it's the pitching coach or the manager, on something that they're seeing?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it is the bottom of the first, so it's probably applicable to bring Lou Piniella into this already. But I think one of the things Lou,
that's always a good time.
But you know, Lou didn't like to talk to pitchers much, and he would kind of use his pitching coach and/or use his catcher to kind of communicate things with his pitcher, and that's how he would communicate. So yeah, absolutely. A lot of times he would communicate it loud enough to where the pitcher could also hear it at the same time. But yes, he used people as conduits to get the pitchers the information.
You mentioned that it was good to have Nelson back in the lineup today. I saw him, and I had my usual answer. Of course, he was hit on the foot the other day, and it looked extremely painful. But I asked him how he was doing today, and he smiled and looked at me and said, "Good enough to be in the lineup," which is his response, which I think is great. Wants to play every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's stung. That really hurt. And you look at him right now and go, oh, sweet, Nelson Cruz is back in the lineup. It takes a lot for him to be hitting in the middle of this lineup today. that quick turnaround, you know he's in some pain.
Well, and it's your back foot. I mean, you know, as a hitter, that's everything. You get your drive, you get your push, you get your power from that back foot, and to have that banged up the way it is, it makes it difficult.
Yeah, swing and a miss for Nelson Cruz. Michael Fulmer, pretty good first inning for him. Moving into the top of the second, it's the Tigers 3, the Mariners nothing.
Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by Virginia Mason Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, making bodies happy again. Sweet. Oh, top of the second inning here. Sorry, guys. I was going to get to a moment here in our players cast as Felix back out on the mound after giving up 3 in that first inning. Guys, back to the players cast there. Sorry about the little pause there, gentlemen.
Brad, he's stumbling, making us stumble.
Well, Brad.
I was going to do something else, and but you know, Angie before put me in my place.
Brad,
let me know that I don't belong in that booth. It's like, I can't even toss to you guys now. I'm so intimidated.
Brad's doing the play-by-play tomorrow, so you might want to clean that up a little bit, Brad.
Am I supposed to talk now? Thanks, guys.
You got it.
I love how they don't trust us bringing it back.
Do you blame them?
Yeah.
Well, this obviously is going to be a key hitter. See how he comes back out. 3-1 to start. Just has not had the feel yet.
Yeah.
And has kind of sprayed the ball around the zone a little bit. Just can't find, you know, and again, this is a situation as a catcher, as a pitcher, Ryan, you're trying to find anything that you can kind of put your foot down on and really use as a pitch that you can go to in certain situations. And whether it's the changeup, whether it's the curve, whether it's the fastball, you got to find something that you can rely upon.
Yeah, you got to find something. First of all, it comes back to just simplifying everything. If that means it's 0-0, middle of the plate, you know what, so be it. Because there's times where you lost your timing or you had worked on something 3 days before this in that bullpen session. Those bullpen sessions are so key in between starts. You know, you look at, if you come to the ballpark early and you see the guys throwing their bullpen sessions, or whether it's Felix Hernandez, or I had a chance to go watch Corey Kluber go to work. You watch it from afar and it looks like they're just getting their work in, but man, a guy like Felix, or some of the best pitchers in the game, they're constantly working on something. But there's nothing worse when you're at game speed and you can't quite get that good feel, that timing, that front foot strike, and that release point. It can be tough, but you just have to simplify everything. Those thoughts, slow them down, and just make that one pitch.
Can you do something with Felix? We talked about the curveball and the changeup.
Yeah.
You've seen his fastball at 91. Right now, struggling to get ahead. Can he go to a slider just to steal a strike early in the count, as opposed to giving in and throwing the fastball, or would you stay with the heater?
Yeah, you can. I think, with him, and this is a tough one because Detroit is so aggressive. So there's really no wiggle room to see another throw down. They're going to be running all day. But there's really no wiggle room. My key was, I had keys in my mechanics. There had to be something mechanically I could go back to, whether it was, that leg lift or that feeling, that front foot, or whatever it may be. But with Felix, this is a tough one because you're facing a team that is ultra aggressive with runners on base. That you can't just groove one to get that feel back. You have to go to a pitch like a slider or a curveball to just try and get that timing back somehow.
That's a Glazes' 6th stolen base. They've really come out aggressive here, Mike. It's interesting. Off of Felix, they've been swinging aggressively. They're bringing the game to him with the running game as well. They're just coming out firing.
Well, we saw that, and when we were in Detroit, one of the things that we talked about, Dan, is they are ready to hit, especially the younger guys. Victor Martinez might be the one that's a little more patient in the middle of the lineup, but it's a fairly young lineup, and they want to swing, and we've seen that early on. So that's part of the scouting report.
Well, and we saw here firsthand too in Seattle with Lloyd McClendon as manager, but Lloyd McClendon, now the hitting coach for Detroit, obviously likes guys to be aggressive and swing the bat. So that's how he played the ball game, and he's making these guys do the same thing in this lineup.
Well, there's pluses and minuses to it. If you're on top of your game, you can get some quick, easy outs. But if you're not, it can be a little more difficult to try to find that groove that you're looking for. They're going to be that aggressive. As you take a look at Lloyd McClendon. Playing in on the corners, back for the double play. I'll be able to handle it.
There's that breaking ball you're talking about.
That helps a ton right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to find something to get out of the thing. Now you have things set up for your double play, which Felix can certainly get right now, but that you have to get that first out in that situation, and to leave the runner stranded there right now, that's pretty good. Yeah,
that's a huge plus. You can see that was a slower breaking ball against a familiar face. He's obviously faced Leonis Martinez a ton, and also had him in the Seattle Mariner uniform, so he knows he's going to be super aggressive as well. Able to just dump that breaking ball over and then go big out.
How about D. Gordon on the turn? That's a pretty good turn right there, right what Felix needed. A couple of pitches to get out of the inning. Mariners getting a chance to swing again. It's the Tigers 3, the Mariners nothing.
Let's take a look at the IBEW NECA investing in our future. Well, Kyle Lewis hitting 250 down the Modesto Nuts. 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, got a run, he's got a hit. More importantly, in each of the 4 games he's played. Good to see him get healthy with a knee injury and keep hitting and keep being the player that the Mariners certainly think he can be. Well, we saw a heck of a turn there by D. Gordon, the center fielder. Now back at second base, guys. A big double play to get Felix out of trouble into the second inning. Looks like, Mike, he's played there a few times before.
Yeah. And Gold Glove to prove it. He's pretty good, but when you haven't been there throughout all of spring training and the season, he's worked out there the last couple of days. In fact, he was the DH in last night's ball game because he came out for so much early work just to try to get a feel for it again. But, you know, a couple of things is Felix having to make a couple of pitches, which he was able to do, a good sign there. And then, of course, Kyle, one of the best in the business, is going to start the double play. Felix makes a play, but look how quickly he gets rid of it, and D has the time to come across the base. We know he has a strong throwing arm and fires it over to first. Throws him out by a couple of steps. Ryan Healy, by the way, has been terrific at first base, but his first chance to turn a double play. Avoid the runner. And yes, he has done that before.
I'll tell you what, that heart is still racing though, right?
Yeah.
When you haven't done that all winter and then you come into spring training, you're at game speed.
Yeah, well, Felix likes it, and there you go.
Look at that. It says everything right there.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a saying in baseball, right? The ball will find you. His first play, he gets there. It's a key kind of turn.
Yeah.
Gets the kind of momentum back in our dugout a little bit, and he handled it very, very well. That's why he's an all-star at that position.
He is, but I think to your point, Dan, the fact that when we were watching that play, most third basemen, when they backhand a play and they're having a step like that and it's taking them to foul territory, they're going to take another half step to plant and make a stronger throw. Where Kyle is one of the few that will just get rid of it quickly, especially since he's even with the bag. And it gives D plenty of time to do whatever he needs to do. And with Kyle, we've talked about how accurate he is with his throw. That is right in the middle of his chest, basically throwing back across his body. So, I mean, for D to have his first double play in that situation, Kyle really helped him out a lot.
Yeah, and I was going to, I mean, it kind of begs the question, like as an infielder, you got a guy who hasn't played out there at second base now. Does it make you think twice about your throws? Does it make you make sure you're going to make an accurate throw? On that particular play, he couldn't really because he was running away from the play. But how's that going to affect the other infielders with D being so fresh there right now?
Well, I don't think that they necessarily think about that as much as you watch Kyle. He's aware that Jacoby Jones at home plate. He's probably the fastest player on the Tigers team and one of the fastest in the American League. And that's what set it up for Kyle. Kyle already had that clock in his head that if we're going to turn it and get out of this inning, regardless if it's left or right, I have to get rid of the ball quickly.
Right.
So that's what helped it out. Now, the good news for the Mariners is Kyle has a Gold Glove himself and is able to make that type of play.
I marvel at it. It's a tough play to be going one direction and make a strong enough and an accurate enough throw to be able to turn that play. That's incredible.
There was a play Carl made, the throw from center field from D. Gordon, overthrew the cutoff. He jumped up, basically saved that ball from going into the third base dugout. Then on 1 foot, boom, through the second with that runner trying to advance a couple weeks ago. Unbelievable.
We mentioned earlier Paxton getting acknowledged for the no-hitter that he threw in Toronto, and the play that Kyle made in the 7th inning of that game is as good as you can do it. I mean, there aren't many that play that position that are able to make that type of play.
Oh, we've seen him make that double play right there several times. I mean, it just makes it look so easy.
Quick inning for Michael Fulmer. He looks as if he's on top of he's on top of his game. So at the end of 2, it's the Tigers 3, the Mariners nothing.
MLB history. How about today, 20 years ago in Chicago, playing for the Oakland A's, our Mike Blowers needing a triple to complete the cycle. He goes and gets it. Slices one in the right field corner and slides in safely. Pops up, claps. He knows exactly what he did. A cycle 20 years ago today. Mike Blowers getting it done in the A's. I tell you what, Blow, as Castellanos hits him in the third, and Seager, another great play for the out. Wow.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was all right.
Wow, that was all right. Hey, getting back to your cycle, though, I know you're going to talk about that play. First, I was very impressed. You weren't even breathing hard after the triple.
Did you see Maglio Ordonez was in right field? Did you see how far he had to run?
Yes, and you got that. So knowing that at-bat, Blow, that you needed the triple, were you confident that you could do it? I mean, you had a great day at the plate. Were you feeling like, I got this, I can hit a triple here?
You know what was funny about it is take a look at the defense. Great play by Kyle. But at that time, obviously I knew I was having a good day, and the score was lopsided. We were up by quite a bit late in the game. And I didn't think about hitting for the cycle until the ball was down into the corner, and I was probably halfway to first, and then it clicked. If I get to third, this will be the cycle. And I think I was the only one in the ballpark that knew it, including my own team.
Well, what about the conversation you had at third base?
Well, you saw me with the pop-up side, and I clapped my hands together because I knew it was for the cycle, so I was pretty excited about that. And Ron Washington, because we were up, I don't know what it was, 14-2 or something like that in the 8th inning. He looks at me and he says, "What are you so excited about?" I said, "I just hit for the cycle." And he was, "No, you didn't." I'm like, "Yes, I did." Wash, one of the best.
That is awesome. That is pretty cool.
Mike, you were shredded too back there looking at that footage.
32-inch waist at that point.
Yeah,
Right? Things have changed a little bit. They did mention it was 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago.
I'm not saying you look like you're in shape now, but I mean, you had the extra medium shirt on. I like the jersey on.
Tailored, of course.
Tailored. Yeah. There's that fastball from Felix. We talked about last inning, getting some huge help from the defense and getting some quick outs, getting out of that jam. But it's just a matter of finding that release point on that fastball, especially against this guy, Victor Martinez. If there's one patient guy in this lineup, it's the guy at the plate right now.
Well, at some point, Kyle's got to let everybody else play.
Yeah,
he's busy.
He's going to get tired here pretty quick.
I think it's smart pitching. Let the Gold Glover handle it.
That's right.
I think the other part about it too is you catch a couple of breaks because the guys make some plays behind you.
Right.
And that can change everything. If nothing else, just your frame of mind and what's going on. And Kyle has done that for Felix here early in the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it too. You're looking at this. You got runners at first and third with none out in that situation, and then he gets that little pop up, and all of a sudden you start thinking, all right, hey, I'm gonna pitch away here. And obviously Felix knows in his repertoire what he can do to get that ground ball. But you're right, it just changes that frame of mind from a simple one pitch, one out, and it just changes. It can change the whole trajectory of that game and that outing.
Well, I think as a pitcher, you feel like you don't have to do everything.
Yeah,
I got 8 guys behind me that are going to make some incredible plays like we've seen, and it does let you kind of take a deep breath and kind of relax a little bit on the mound and know that you don't have to take care of everything.
It was John Hicks that had the big hit in the first inning. It was a double to drive in a couple of runs. Double out into left center field.
And this is the count here, 0-2. This is the chance for him. When you talk about that snowball of confidence going right now, if he can bury this breaking ball, just like that. That was a changeup. Good pitch.
Well, hopefully they can swing the bats now. We're going to move into the bottom of the third. Felix needs a little bit of run support. It's Tigers 3, the Mariners nothing.
Welcome back to Safeco Field. We go bottom three now again after a good top of the third for Felix, a 1-2-3, and now Zanino and the guys trying to get going against Fulmer as we get back up to the players cast. And guys, this is the guy Fulmer we know has a really good arm, and a guy who the Mariners did touch up for 6 earned his last start there in Detroit.
Well, right now he's just throwing a lot of strikes. 23 pitches, 18 strikes for him, and he has his good stuff. You see the fastball at 95. He's had a plus slider today, which can be at times a devastating pitch, but he's feeling a lot better. I think his command from when we saw him in Detroit is much better here early in the ball game.
Yeah, and you see right there, you mentioned overpowering hitters right now with that fastball. A lot more fastballs than what we saw earlier on. You said it, Mike, too. I think that command, you noticed last time against the Mariners, he was losing that command, those 2-0, 2-1 counts, and he was pitching away from contact. Now he's going right after these hitters.
Really using the top part of the zone. We see that so often, guys that have the good fastball that ride it up at the top of the zone, get those swings and misses up there, and that's what he's been doing pretty effectively.
And already 3 strikeouts for him.
Is that slider?
It'll be interesting with the Mariners to watch them as they move forward. Guillermo getting an opportunity to play on a regular basis. Had 3 hits, by the way, yesterday, bringing his average up over 300. We saw Ben Gamel in the lineup yesterday against a left-hander. He also picked up a hit.
Oh, we talked about it Tuesday night when Guillermo had the game winner in extra innings late. That it's going to take guys with Robbie out of the lineup and Robbie out of that 3-hole. You're not going to replace what Robbie can do, but you're going to have guys that are going to step up in your lineup. Obviously that night it was Guillermo, and some of these guys are going to get more of an opportunity to play and more of an opportunity to contribute, and he's certainly one of the guys that it'll be fun to watch as he plays a little bit more.
Another good fastball right on the outside corner.
And already taking the strikeout right there. But he's a guy too, and this is something, asking you guys about this. This happens with pitching. Already when you came up to the big leagues, they talked about platooning a lot. You kind of got labeled into that guy who can face lefties, but not an everyday player. He's getting a chance to play every day. Do you guys ever have that situation where you see someone who they do get that label on them, where they feel like they're going to be a platoon? I've seen it pitching wise where it's like, hey, look, you're a lefty specialist, and that's it.
Yes, it was on me for a little while. That's just the way it started for me, and then eventually, because of injury, in large part to Edgar, I got an opportunity to play every day because they just needed somebody out there. And unfortunately for me, it worked out at the time to where eventually Gar became the best DH I've ever seen, and I had a chance to play and play on a daily basis, which was nice. But originally it wasn't that way, and if there wasn't the injuries, it probably would have never changed it because you never get the opportunity, so you just don't know. He hitting a routine fly ball out to center field. Again, Michael Fulmer on top of his game. Just 1 hit for the Mariners through 3 innings.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Hey, stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. We'll break down Felix Hernandez's start. Welcome back D. Gordon to second. And also preview tomorrow, game 3 of a 4-game set. James Paxton on the mound, his first game here at home with Safeco Field since throwing that no-no up there in Toronto. And Mike, I know you were there in person to watch that. And as good as he was his last start here with the 16 punch-outs, I mean, what was it like just watching him mow down Toronto? And when did you think and start keeping track of the outs, and when do you think a no-no was possible?
Another good play by D. Gordon. Probably when he was rolling through the 3rd, 4th inning, because that's when I saw his velocity jump up. It seemed in the first couple of innings he was trying to figure things out, because you have to remember the start before that he punched out 16 guys in 99 pitches. He was really good. His fastball was in the upper 90s again, but as the game moved on in Toronto, probably for him, by the time he got through the 6th inning, and then Kyle makes the great play to start the 7th down the line. After that, he seemed to really start to feel it, to where at the end of the game he was throwing 99 miles an hour. But I think early on, I thought, and Dan, you and I were talking about that, maybe he was even better in the 16 strikeout game as opposed to when he threw the no-hitter. But I'm sure he's happy to have the no-hitter, and what a great moment for him to do that in Toronto, and what it meant to him. And he was so busy for the rest of the time we were there, but he was happy to sign every autograph, talk to whoever wanted to talk to him. It was a great moment for James.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear Jerry DiPoto out in center field before the game mention that same thing, that the 16 strikeout game was probably better as Kyle makes yet another play at third base. But he thought that was maybe a better game than the no-hitter. And in talking to Mike Zunino today, I kind of went over, I did congratulate Pax, but I also made sure to congratulate the catcher, because it's always important to do that, because they get a little bit of credit for that too. But I said, Mike, congratulations on that no-hitter. That was awesome. He said, well, thanks. He said, but I think Pax actually threw the 16 strikeout game a little bit better. So it's really interesting to see that, but and to know that. But regardless, those are 2 pretty well pitched games.
And Ryan, I think the one thing that was interesting is in the 16 strikeouts, he had the plus fastball and a really good slider, and the no-hitter he went to his curveball. And to your point with Mike Zunino, in the game that he punched out 16 early on, he couldn't find his curveball, and even though he was dominating, as Iglesias gets another hit, even though he was dominating that day, Mike still had him throw the curveball enough to where the last couple of innings he had a really good feel for it, and he took it right into the next game, which is when he got the no-hitter.
Yeah, it's interesting too, when you're coming off a game like that 16 strikeout, you raise the bar on yourself, and everyone, not that everyone's expecting 16 punch outs every single time, but you're starting to expect that plus stuff.
It looked pretty easy the first time.
Yeah, deep down I was like, hey, if I threw 97, dude, I'd be punching 20 out. No. But you could see him rolling on in that game, and this is what is the mark of a guy like James Paxton, who's going to be a frontline starter, because when you don't quite have that fastball, and we talked about this earlier with Felix, you go to that breaking ball, you get that rhythm and that timing down, and you notice that velo just kept going up and up and up. 97, 99, 100 in the last couple of innings, man. It was so fun to watch towards the end.
Yeah, I like the Felix threw over to first right there. We talked about it with the Tigers early. The first 3 innings, they're trying to run, and so Felix is trying to help Mike out a little bit. Just keep him honest over there. Iglesias had a stolen base in the 2nd.
Yeah, and to your point, Mike, they pitch out right there. Obviously expecting Detroit to stay very aggressive on the bases.
It's changed a little bit, Dan, hasn't it? Because it seemed to me when you were pitching out, the catcher used to come out early, throw the ball over in the other batter's box. That was almost like it was just a missed high fastball for Felix.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think catchers like that. It's a little bit more true to form. You don't have to have so much moving parts to the throw. And catchers prefer they call it more of a modified pitch out. You just set up way off of the plate, and the pitcher just throws a pitch way off the outside part of the plate.
I requested the modified pitch out every time. I really struggled. I don't know if it's because I had the yips or whatever. I could not.
You can say it. You did.
Hey, I'm done playing.
I was being polite, Ryan, because most of the time the pitchers have a hard time.
I'm telling you, it's harder than it looks. Felix came up and throwing, and because it's unnatural to be throwing up and into that left-hander's batter's box.
There he goes.
couple of pretty good curveballs from Felix.
Yeah, he's starting to get that good feel for that pitch, especially that 1-1 count. That has been burning him too. John Hicks, that was a 1-1 pitch in the first inning where he got that big hit. Hitters are hitting around 600 off that 1-1 pitch.
If he can make a pitch here and get out of the inning, all of a sudden he's helped his pitch count out too. He's right in line, actually 63 pitches working here in the fourth after throwing 31, I believe it was, in the first.
Yeah. Nothing inside the strike zone right here. Spanned. Another chance of it, have it.
Nothing but a long strike right there.
Exactly. Now, this is where you want to see Felix. That good changeup or that breaking ball, bury that pitch like he did to end the last inning.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the game. Felix just needed a chance to settle down. He got some good defensive behind him. Now he's had a chance to kind of settle into the game, and now it's up to the Mariner offense to kind of start taking over at this point, and Felix continuing to keep him down.
You see that a lot too when you're trying to get a feel for all your pitches at release point. You get that cement mix because you're trying to do a little bit extra to bury that pitch.
Overthrowing it?
Yeah, overthrowing it. Yeah, that front side just leaks big. You want to see Mike's in there down on his knees right here, blocking this ball.
Pretty good location on it. Fastball, let that two-seamer run. You really see the two-seam run on that one.
Yeah, a ton of movement. So you see a breaking ball right here. Bounces on top of the plate.
There goes Iglesias. See Iglesias running on the breaking ball counts, Mike. Good base runners will do that. It's a slower pitch, obviously. Takes more time to get to the plate. Pitchers tend to take more time to throw it. They don't want to hang it. It's more of a careful pitch, and good base runners obviously looking for breaking ball counts, and that's why you'll see catchers really try to close up and not let that base runner at first base see the sign. So, you know, he's trying to make it hard on him and make it more of a guessing game, but they like to run on those breaking balls.
Another good inning for him. Well, for Felix, he has really settled down, throwing the ball extremely well. Mariners just need to get some offense as they move into the bottom of the fourth.
Hey, Mariners fans, going to the game? It's a quick and easy trip on the Sounder train, Link Light Rail, and ST Express buses. Plan your trip at soundtransit.org. Well, 15 days before Mike Blowers hit that cycle, how about Dan Wilson at home? Bases juiced against these Detroit Tigers. Wilson going deep to left center field. Left fielder is down. Center fielder can't get the ball. It's bouncing on the Kingdome turf. Everybody scores, and they're going to wave Dan the man. Here he comes. It is an inside the park grand slam. He slides across home safe. Dan Wilson. Wow. Okay, 2 questions, Dan. Now, we saw Blow not be tired after the triple. You were tired, right? Oxygen. Okay.
I was really glad A-Rod was there because I had nothing left.
And I'm wondering, when you're rounding third, are you thinking, hey, a triple's good, a 3-run triple's good? Or when the third base coach rounding you, you're like, gosh, I got to go home now? Do I really want to do this?
I tell you what, 90 feet is one thing, 180 feet, that's another, but 360 feet around this base is a long way.
Do you have any idea how often that's happened? An inside the park grand slam? There can't be many.
No, there aren't many.
Yeah.
But it took me about 2 innings before my legs just turned to jelly pretty much. And it was a great day, but it was a long one. Oxygen was gone.
Mike, you asked about that number. See, if you got a play-by-play guy here, he's looking that thing up in 2 seconds, right? Aaron Goldsmith has got those numbers for you.
Which, by the way, speaking of that, I have to thank you, Ryan, because typically we had Dave Sims come back from his injury yesterday, was able to do 3 innings. And Dave, of course, everybody knows him because of his hats, right? He has all his different hats. With Aaron, of course, it's the pocket square that he's very proud of. And so Ryan today picks us up, Dan, with the vest. Yeah, he's got the vest, and it looks terrific.
All right.
So I appreciate you taking care of us. I think both Dave and Aaron would be very proud of the fact that you broke this vest out to help Dan and I out to keep things going here.
All right, guys. First of all, it looks awesome. All right.
It does. It does.
This is a rookie hazing part of the night.
Yes, that's why you recognize that.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. The vest. I thought it was a good look. I thought, special
and
occasion.
The double-breasted suit.
Yeah, the double-breasted. He dressed it up.
Yeah. Well, I told you the story behind that, right? When I tried that thing on, I was like, this is too big. I'm like, oh, it's actually it folds over. I had no idea. That's classy.
Don't tell everybody that.
Yeah, I think I've seen the pocket square from Aaron. That's just a slice of cardboard and some fabric on top of it, isn't it?
Yeah, he has different colors, so he's really proud of it. Talking about Fulmer earlier, then again, another fastball right on the outside corner. So not only is he throwing 94 to 96, but he's locating his fastball, which is really opening the plate up for a slider.
Yeah, he's got that good fastball, too. He was 94, 95. That one ran quite a bit. He started it, like we've talked about, that 2-seamer off the plate, let it run across the outside corner at 95. That's really a tough pitch. But, hitters are going to give up on that. And I'll tell you what, he's got it all going right now.
And you can see Nelson being aggressive. The fastball is probably it is off the plate. Look at the EQC tracer on that fastball at 95. But I think sometimes the pitcher will force your hand, and if early on they were going to be a little patient with him, Nelson fouls this off down the right field line. They had to change their game plan. They have to get after his fastball early.
And the tempo, too. You can see how quick Michael Fulmer's working in between pitches. Gets that good feel. He's been struggling in May. And all of a sudden tonight, he's got that tempo and everything's locked in, and he's just attacking every hitter.
Well, we talk a lot about pitchers and catchers and game plans and what they do when they go out there, and then having to make adjustments. Sometimes hitters got to make adjustments to their game plan with the pitcher as well, and we're seeing that right here. Fulmer really in control as we move on.
He's on a roll, and Felix has really settled in too, so this is going to be a pitching duel the rest of the way.
Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Amtrak Cascades. What a beautiful way to travel. Visit AmtrakCascades.com. By Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, visit SteelDealers.com. And by CHI Franciscan Health, the Mariners' official partner in health. Get your guide to living Northwest healthy at nwhealthy.org/Mariners. Nice shot looking up there. Smith Tower, second and Yesler. I know that Ryan Roland-Smith is a high-rise kind of guy, penthouse kind of guy. Ryan, so I'll direct this question to you as Martin smiles at that first pitch strike here leading off the fourth. What have you seen that Felix has done better, certainly since that first inning, Ryan?
Just commanding all of his pitches. You can see that tempo start to speed up as well. We talked about Michael Fulmer, how he's gotten into that good tempo, good rhythm. He's attacking hitters. Now Felix has just found something. It's interesting too. I mean, we talked about that one inning back in the second. You got that lazy little fly ball from this guy, Leonis Martin. Then you got that double play. It's amazing how that can change everything that's going on. All of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm good to go here.
I think the main thing with it is it gives you an opportunity to just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he gets through the first inning after giving up the 3 runs. Then all of a sudden he's in trouble after a couple of walks, still kind of fighting himself. And then you have a couple of plays made and take a deep breath and just move it forward from there. And Felix over the years has been one of the best at that.
Yeah. You see what he's done too. Second time through the lineup this year, 197 opposing batting average. So he's done a really good job second time through. Third time through already in the 5th inning. Third chance, has to mix it up and has the ability to do that. Change up starting to look better. Better rhythm.
How do you feel about Brad piling on right there, right? Huh?
Brad, he's cracking jokes. No, I think he's practicing for his big play-by-play debut. What do you think? Are you working with him tomorrow?
I am, yeah.
You excited?
Yes, of course. You bet. Well, Dave's going to be over here for the first 3, and then Brad is going to finish the final 6.
You better get that hair on point if you want to keep up with Brad Adam.
I'm not worried about that.
It's a tough play right there, Ryan Healy. Lately, we've seen a couple of these more routine plays skipping around at his feet, but another good pitch by Felix getting that ground ball, and this is a chance for him right now. We talked about that rhythm to get back at it with runners on base. This is going to be a big time, third time through.
We talked about how well he has played, and he just misplays that. Tries to get back to it. Unfortunately, you see the runner Martin. Felix slips a little bit, and he looks like he's going to be fine.
You see a little Ryan Healy taking a little yell at his glove right there. What are you doing?
He's not the first one to do that.
Did you ever sleep with your glove or sleep with your bat glove? I know guys that used to sleep with their bat.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, when I was younger, you know, when I was in Little League and stuff, I had my glove with me all the time, so that wasn't a common. But once I started playing at this level, no. But I would say this though, I've taken my bat to the room many times.
Oh yeah, look in the mirror,
especially on the road. Yeah, just trying to figure something out.
Whatever it takes.
Nothing worse than being out on the road and people out on the street, they see that one light on at 4 o'clock in the morning and then you standing in front of a mirror trying to figure out your swing. It can be lonely sometimes. It's terrible.
You can't sleep anyway when you're in a slump, right?
No, that's the point. You're just staring at the ceiling.
Pretty good fastball there, 8 up. His hands a little bit, little weak fly ball to right field.
Well, it's amazing too how this game works, and for Felix, that fastball more towards the middle of the plate that he was not getting away with in the first inning, but it's just because he's working ahead now, and he's able to use his curveball and his changeup and even his slider a little bit. So as a hitter, you have so many other things that you're thinking about that's why he's a little bit late. Jams him just enough. Soft line drive into right. Weak contact.
You see Felix in between pitches joking around, yelling at Leonis Martin. That's a good sign too. You know he's relaxed. And you know he's having fun too. Felix is always at his best when he's enjoying the process out there, getting deep into games. Love that interaction when he's against Adrian Beltre, or ex-teammates. It's important. A lot of times this year you've seen that frustration of Felix in big situations. See Leonis with the smoke over that first base there.
Good throw down there just to keep Leonis honest. First base.
That helps, right? I mean, it's just trying to keep him from getting too far on his secondary lead, make him honest over there, so he takes him normally and doesn't get too far outdoor field that he can.
Yeah, and it's not that Mike thought he could pick him off. It's more just to send a message, hey, we're paying attention to you. Don't get too far off of there.
How would you deliver that message to Ryan Healy before you're going to throw down? Or is that just straight Ryan Healy reacting?
Stay alert.
Yeah. Always wondered that.
You can do it a couple of ways, as Felix makes a nice play on that soft tapper in front. But there's a couple of ways. Either you get the first baseman's attention and you have a little touch sign that you give each other, or just like Mike was saying, hey, you know, when we get Leonis on first, when we get Iglesias at first base, and they're taking a good secondary, just be ready. I might be coming down there.
And that was a smart play by Felix too. I think there was a chance that possibly he was going to turn and try to get the lead runner, but instead get the out. Now he has 2 outs and he can get himself out of the inning, as opposed to Martin runs well, not getting in at second, and now you have a problem.
And we got that same situation we had earlier in the ball game. We got Martinez up, base open. Now we can pitch tough to him. Although Hicks, you know, obviously did a good job his last time up, or in the first inning, in that situation.
Good breaking ball, and again the defense. And for D. Gordon, you can see where he's playing and how far out towards right field he is. This is something that he has done before, but again, his first game back, he has not been out there, so it has to be a little bit odd, I would think, even for somebody that's won a Gold Glove. It will not take him much time at all to get up to speed, but it's the defenses now that have changed so much, as opposed to being in the same spot all the time.
Another pick at second. I think partly again to keep Leonis honest, but it's also because it's Leonis.
Yeah.
Try to get him a little dirty, mess with him a little bit.
Yeah, so he's going back and forth with his ex-teammate. Mike, you talked about that one at bat for Felix in the game, and we could be looking at that right here. Whether he goes after Victor Martinez, if he slips behind the count, he may go ahead and go against John Hicks. But this is that one at bat that we can change your whole night. You're looking at, you know, a situation where Leonis Martin can score. That's 4 runs against a tough performer on the other end. So it's a huge situation in the game right now.
And he's got himself in the position he wants to be. 0-2. Now he's got to make Martinez hit his pitch. Slow curveball.
It's a pitch. Talking about expanding the zone with Felix. 0-2 count. Nothing but middle right here. I could never do that. I mean, Felix does this a ton, where he's messing with his ex-teammates. I was just so.
You're great up here, but you were so angry on the mound.
I was just laser focused. I couldn't break attention. That's exactly.
That's funny you mentioned that, though, because obviously Jamie Moyer, guy who's pitched here for a long time, but he was very much that way, where he liked to talk to guys and mess with guys and throw verbal darts at them out there on the bases, wherever. And I tell you what, I think he thought it worked. He planted a seed, and maybe it did for later in the ball game or whatever, but he'd like to plant seeds here and there.
It did on me. In Oakland, we were in Oakland, and first couple of hitters get on base, and it's the first inning, and I think he went to back up home plate. Ricky had a base hit, and whoever was hitting second that day, and as he's walking back out and I'm walking to home plate, he looks at me and he says, "What do you want to hit?" And I just kind of give him a look. He goes, "Everybody's hitting everything. What do you want to hit?" And I said, "Well, that 86 down the middle works." And he says, "Okay, here you go. Change up, change up, change up."
He liked to mess with guys. I remember being out on the mound talking about things. The umpire would come out. He'd say, "Hey, what do you guys ready to break this up?" And Jimmy said, "What do you think we should throw here? We can't decide out on the mound here. What do you think we should throw?"
Did they ever tell him?
No. A strike. That's what they would say. A strike.
Well, Felix is making some really good pitches here.
Yeah, it's a
tough at bat, veteran hitter. Talked about it earlier.
But you can't give in to him.
Can't give in to him.
Can't give in to him.
Biggest thing, and easier said than done. Expand that zone. You got a 1-2 count. Even if you go to 2-2, you can set up that next pitch.
When you start, whether it's you as a catcher or you as a pitcher, and you're getting to this part in the ball game, and we mentioned the first inning where he threw 31 pitches, but right here this is turning into a long at bat. Do you ever worry about the pitch count or the amount of pitches that you're throwing to a one-hitter, or are you just trying to just get this job done?
Because for me, you know, a couple things come to mind right now, and with the count in your favor like this, you're just going to want to keep making really good pitches. But you know, we were talking about mound visits before. To me, this is where the mound visit thing hurts you a little bit, because you want to go out there as a catcher. And you want to make sure you guys are on the same page. You might want to talk about different sequences you can go with here to try to get Martinez out. And if that's something that, as a catcher, where you feel a little restricted, you know, this is kind of a turning point in the ball game. That's where you want to be able to get out there, and I think that's where it kind of hurts.
Yeah, a couple things to your point. One, 6 foul balls now.
Yeah.
And they've already used 2 mound visits in the game. Yeah. And you're basically midway through.
Right.
And you glance as a pitcher, you glance up at that pitching count because you want to try and be efficient as possible. But the minute you step back on that rubber, it's that one pitch.
And I think that's a situation where you have to give the hitter some credit. It looked like that pitch was maybe just off the outside corner, and Felix was pitching to both sides of the plate, but a veteran hitter, you take a look at the pitch, it's a breaking ball, there's the curveball, and that is just off the plate away.
Victor Martinez is not going to miss that mistake. So that's a mistake right there. That's a situation where Felix is trying to, when you get all those foul balls and you're trying to make it pitch after pitch, it's basically like muscling up. And even though it's not a fastball, you're trying to muscle up and muscle through that pitch and, you know, throw it as hard as you can, and that ball just spins up in the strike zone.
Well, he's able to get out of the inning on the very next pitch, but the Mariners are down 4-0.
The fifth is brought to you by Heritage Distilling BSB Brown Sugar Bourbon. You can't spell baseball without BSB. Time now for AT&T, achieving more. Since coming off the DL April 26, Ryan Healy clubbed 8 home runs, just 1 off the AL lead set by Lindor and JD Martinez there in Boston, 4 with 7. But Healy has been obviously red hot, not just with the home run ball, but guys, hitting for average, hitting in the bottom of that lineup. And when you get a guy like Healy who can hit, and he has been hitting, what, 7, 8, 9 guys to produce like that, 8 home runs. It was 8 in 16 games. Just how scary and how long does it make the lineup?
Well, there's that, and the other part about it too is, again, with the situation with Robbie, not going to be around for a while, and with the way that, more importantly, the way that he's been swinging the bat, we saw him hitting 5th tonight. He's hitting 6th, so he's moving his way up the lineup quickly.
And we've talked about lineup construction, and sometimes it's not necessarily the guys that are in the 3 and 4 hole. It's those guys that are in the 5, 6 hole hitting behind them that can make those guys in the 3 and 4 hole better hitters because they're swinging the bat well, and that's what Ryan Healy does, is he makes those guys in the middle of the lineup better.
I feel like too, when coming to a new team, big trade, he's young, probably trying to impress a little bit too much, even coming out of spring training, trying to do a little bit too much, and he had a chance just to take a breath too when he had that DL stint.
Yeah, similar sometimes when you're struggling. And I know that you mentioned Lou earlier. Lou would do this with me from time to time, and that is basically look at me and say, you're going to not play for the next 2 days. Just sit back and relax and watch the game. And sometimes you get so bogged down with your own struggles that you forget that it is a game and it's supposed to be fun. And you watch other guys without the pressure of having to play. And then all of a sudden you go back in the lineup and just your thought process and just everything is different for you. Along with obviously getting a lot of extra work because you know you're not going to be in there. But I think that probably, to your point, helped Ryan out after the start and then having some time. And since he's been back, he has really swung the bat well.
You see Michael Fulmer climbing the ladder again. A lot of fastballs tonight, 95, 96. We know about the good velocity, but everything up in the zone with 2 strikes. Another fastball.
Just missed it. And the other part with Fulmer is they're going to have to figure out a way to hit him because his pitch count is in great shape. Just 48 pitches as he works here in the 5th.
You know, Ryan, talking about those deep lineups, what's it like as a pitcher? You're standing on the mound. You know, you mentioned it earlier when you go and you look at the lineup card. Like, as a pitcher, if you're starting that day, the first thing you do is you look at the lineup card. Who am I facing today?
Yeah.
And then when you get out on the mound, what's that like when you've got a lineup that's pretty deep?
Yeah, well, you said it. I mean, even as now that I'm done playing and I've hung them up, and always try and put myself in the shoes of Marco Gonzalez. Watching him pitch, a young lefty. And thinking, you mentioned it, when you walk into the clubhouse, the first thing you see is that lineup. You go and you take a look and you go over in your head, okay, this guy, all right, this guy crushes me. This guy, for me, it was a lot of these guys crush me, actually. But when you look at a guy like Ryan Healy, who 25 bombs hitting down the bottom of that lineup, again, he's up today, but when he's usually down, obviously, with Robinson, Cano, Nelson Cruz in the middle, when he's down, you're like, okay, I can't make a mistake. That 3-run homer can become an issue in the 8th hole. It's crazy, and that's what's so with this Mariners lineup. Whether you like offense or pitching, whatever, it's been so fun to watch in April. I'm going to see that the rest of the summer.
And he's taking a little time getting back in the batter's box. That last slider was just dirty on the outside corner. He really has it working. A slider 86 and his fastball at 95 and locating.
Yeah, completely different guy to what we saw in Detroit. This is the all-star version of Michael Fulmer. He has really struggled in May. ERA up over 7. Man, he's got it locked in right now.
It's one of the things in this game. Sometimes I think you can look at your own offense when you're having struggles and you can maybe point to some of the things that they're not doing, whether it's the quality of the at-bats or the pitches that they're swinging at. But tonight they're running into somebody that's just on top of his game.
Sometimes you tip your cap.
Yeah. Try to find a way. Put some pressure on him and maybe get a run or two and hopefully get to the bullpen. Brings 97 right there.
Yeah. Brings to mind Rex Hudler blow. I don't know if you remember this, and I don't remember what year it was, but playing the Angels, Rex Hudler was playing for the Angels, and Randy was pitching and was dominant that night. He punched out Randy, or Randy punched him out, and it was just a classic case where he literally tipped his cap to him on the way back to the dugout. It was priceless.
Yeah, sometimes it's just what it is. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you can have the deepest lineup you want, but when Randy's on his game, you're in trouble.
It's a good sign right here. Ben Gamel taking an opportunity right there. Pitch down the middle of the zone, and he's starting to have those better at bats.
You know what, Ryan? I had a chance to talk to him today down by the cage, and just ask him how he was doing. And he's always in a great mood and happy to play baseball and do his thing. But he was off to a very slow start. And he missed spring training, missed a lot of time, and he said he's finally starting to get the game to slow down for him. We saw it yesterday. I commented to him about facing the left-hander and hitting the breaking ball into right field on a line. And it was one of the things that I heard early in my career from Don Mattingly, and he was struggling a little bit, and Donnie at that time was one of the best players in the game, and he looked at me and said, I really need to see a left-handed pitcher, because Donnie was a left-handed hitter, and he said, just to get me right, even if I go over 4, they keep me honest to get me back to where I can hit the righties. And I asked Ben about that. And he said absolutely that has helped him because he's getting a chance to play now when normally Heredia plays against the righties or the lefties, and he would play against the righties. But he thought that even last night, as he's getting closer, staying in there front side, staying shut on the breaking ball, helped him against the right-handers too. So it's going to be Martin in center field. And the Mariners just with a couple of hits through 5 innings. Michael Fulmer on his game.
Mariners game live on MLB.com. For more info, visit Mariners.com. And tomorrow we've got, of course, James Paxton on the mound. Our CenturyLink What's Next tomorrow starters. Mike Fiers from Houston Astros, so we know him a little bit. He's 4-2 on the season. Paxton again 2-1 with a 3.52. Coverage begins tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. I know, Ryan Rowland-Smith, you like to kind of compare yourself to the Gonzaleses. How about comparing yourself to, you ever imagine yourself as James Paxton, a guy who can reach back and throw 100 and just have their way, throw a fastball like he did against Oakland and say, it's a fastball, guys, it's coming, and I'm still throwing it, and you're still not going to hit it.
Well, you know what's funny, Brad, is James got to a moment in the year last year in 2017 where he just kept texting me saying, hey, man, what's it like to be you? And I said, look, kid, maybe one day you can be as good as me. So, Brad, you're funny. But, yeah, James Paxton, and when he came up last year and when he's got in that rhythm, we're starting to see that again this year, 2018. It's fun to watch.
He went through that stretch where I thought he was the best pitcher in the American League. I mean, I think he won 7 in a row and was giving up nothing. He was dominant. The key for him this year is stay healthy. He's trending in that direction that you were talking about after the 16 strikeouts and the no-hitter, and he's really throwing the ball well, so he just needs to stay healthy.
Trying to figure out what the Australian equivalent to the Maple Grove would be. What do you think?
Oh, man.
You're going to have to help us out with that one.
Big jar of Vegemite up there, I guess, or a big kangaroo or something like that. I missed my day. I wasn't quite that good to have a King's Court or a Maple Grove, that's for sure. Oh, yeah. That Maple Grove, it's going to grow, though, for sure, right? That whole section.
Yeah, that's cool.
To light that up. There they are. I love it, too. Look at them. They're supporting one of James's teammates, the King, up there. They've got the K's.
They got the Canadian K's with the K and the A.
Yeah. There you go.
Good stuff.
Dan, you were talking about pitching at home and pitching on the road for Felix. I've got to say, when you do have the King's Court down left field in your peripheral vision, that's got to help, surely, when you've got that support and the chanting every time you get 2 strikes. Unfortunately, I never had that, but it's got to help.
No, you're right, and I think that's what that play with Seager did the double play with Seager and Gordon. I think that's what that does. It gets the crowd into the game. And when you get that crowd into the game as a starting pitcher, I got to believe, you know, sometimes it works against you because you get too fired up. But for the most part, it's one of those things that really gets you going and picks you up in a big way.
We've heard Felix talk about that. Pitching here at home with the court and what that means to him, what it's meant to him. They've been around for a long time now, but he feeds off of that energy from it.
This will work. This is a breaking ball right here. This is a pitch that, again, you want down out of the strike zone. But enough back and forth. We talked about this a few innings ago with Felix. Enough back and forth where you get those bad swings. More of a guess, emergency hack right there with 2 strikes. There's another good break. And Felix has been getting the 2 strikes with ease lately. It's a matter of just executing the 2 strikes. And that goes back to it too. You talked about the King's Court, Felix pitching at home, getting too amped up. Sometimes when you're getting too jacked up and you want to strike everyone out, you know, you start muscling up and that ball starts to spin.
Right. Well, Felix almost to the 100 pitch mark.
Nobody getting loose in the pen, but this will probably be his last inning. The pitch count goes as high this year as 101, and he's done that a couple of times.
Here he goes back to 2 strikes.
Still locating the fastball, both of them on the outside corner.
It's important too. Finish on a high note. Felix, again, he's such a competitor. He's going to walk away from this game. Michael Fulmer has been tough on the other end. If this is his last out, you want to finish on a high note.
Close play. Scott's holding things up right now. If he is safe and he beats it out, it'll be an infield hit. Yep, he'll beat it. Looks like he beat it. Yep, infield hit.
That's a tough play indeed, Gordon. That situation. Talking about him coming back to second base. A little bit of hesitation there. So like, that's a play that, you know, you're talking 5-10 games into this. That's a ball he's probably making a lot quicker throw, quicker transfer, and making that out.
The other part about it is he had to go to his right back up the middle, and kind of an in-between hop that came up on him a little bit. So you could see when he caught it, it was close to his body, which took him a little bit longer to get rid of the ball.
I wonder too how much, you know, obviously throwing from the outfield much different than arc. Infield much shorter. A lot of adjustments to make.
And especially when if you're somebody that is going to play the infield and play the outfield, you work at both of those things. If you're a utility person that can do that, Romine can do all of those things, and it doesn't faze him because that's what he's doing. D was learning a new position that he was going to play every single day, and hasn't been on the infield at all. Second stolen base for Iglesias. The 3 stolen bases in the game for the Tigers. They have been aggressive on the bases.
Taking off on those break ball counts too. Down first move, timing Felix up.
Tigers came into the game hitting .231 with runners in scoring position, having a better day today, 3 for 7. Again, Altavilla getting loose in the pen.
Punch out right here would be huge.
Yeah.
There it is.
Another strikeout for Felix in a season high, 105 pitches for him. Again, looking for a little bit of run support.
Join T-Mobile in showing your appreciation for all military and vets by sharing a photo or video using hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each tweet or post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans. We go bottom of the 6th. Tigers still up 4-0. That is what's is waiting for me, guys, out there in the pen for our post game. Standing room only out there in the pen. Look at that. And all hoping and waiting for Ryan Rowland-Smith to be on the postgame show.
Come on, dude. They're waiting for Brad Allen.
I told everyone.
What are you talking about?
I told everyone. Ooh, it's already gets hit there by Fulmer. I told everyone that Ryan would come out there postgame.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't make me look bad.
Even though he had that elbow guard on at 95 miles an hour, and I'm not sure if it hit the guard or hit his arm, you're going to feel it. Primero Supermo trying to check. And squarely on it, but that is square at 95. He definitely is going to feel it.
Well, we were talking off air, Mike, that Mariners need something. We thought maybe the Gamble hit might be a little start, but this right here to lead off the inning with a hit by pitch might be a little chink in the armor here that might get the Mariners going here a little bit offensively.
Well, and especially with D. Gordon going to turn the lineup over, be the third at bat for D. And you can see the infielders, they've had to shorten up because of his speed. So a few more holes on the infield for him.
As much as that may have hurt Heredia, if you're on the bench right now, if you're not pitching that day, you're kind of saying, all right, here we go. Even though you don't want to see someone get hurt, but man, you got to start igniting. You mentioned D. Gordon, top of the lineup, back up, ready to go. Again, too, from Michael Fulmer, hasn't been able to stretch much at all tonight. He's been such a rhythm in that windup. Sometimes that can be just enough to break that quality of pitch up a little bit.
Yep, he's going right at him. A couple of fastballs. That last one in on his hands. 95. Ryan, it looks somebody had a suggestion for you.
That's true. I'm not witty enough. That's very clever.
We all missed the most obvious. Yeah. Very nice.
Man, thank you.
Very nice for sending that in.
Thanks, Linda.
Perfect.
Set it up. Let's go.
Well, did he hit it? And Martin underneath it.
To your point, though, Mike, with a 4-0 lead here in the 6th, Fulmer has the luxury of continuing to go at these guys and be aggressive in the strike zone with that fastball. That's what's so nice about a 4-run lead. Even when you got a runner at first base, even if he gives up a home run, it's still 4-2. But when you're ahead of the game like that, it's nice. I know as a catcher, it's nice because I can just be very aggressive in the strike zone and keep pounding it.
Well, maybe Gene can do something here. He's had two really good at bats. A base hit his first time up and then lined out to Martin in center field. Aggressive again. This is just a lazy fly ball out to right.
The right idea here as well. You're talking about quality at bats, but when you've got a guy Michael Fulmer who's really establishing that fastball early in counts, that's a situation where you want to hunt that fastball a little bit more and jump all over that pitch.
Well, I mean, he is being more aggressive with his fastball. He's throwing a lot of them, but he's still making quality pitches with that first pitch. He's splitting that outside corner. It's not like he's throwing middle of the plate. He's just got such confidence in it.
And the Mariners are definitely being more aggressive, and I can't blame him for that with the stuff that he has tonight. I don't think you want to hit 0-2, 1-2 against him, so try to do something early.
He gets that pitch right there.
Yeah, spikes a slider.
Mike, best pitching performance you ever saw?
Best pitching performance I ever saw. And probably the one that was the most fun was Chris Bosio. No-hitter, that was a lot of fun. Another quick inning for Michael Fulmer, but Bosio's no-hitter, and it's nice to have Boz in town, by the way. be a bank difference of the game. Ryan?
And these were two-strike pitches in the first inning. We talked about expanding the zone with 2 strikes against an aggressive lineup. That was John Hicks with a huge double to break it open early in the game in this first inning. And then right after him, back-to-back doubles right after John Hicks. This is Nico Goodrum. This is an 0-2 pitch as well. We talked about staying away from the middle of that away from the plate. He jumped all over that pitch. And just a tough start for Felix. He settled in. Until then, 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Got in a good rhythm, but that first inning was really the big factor for him.
That really settled down after that. We'll take a look at the Beacon Plumbing call to the pen, and it'll bring us Dan Altavilla.
Big Dan coming off the DL. Couple of starts, couple of opportunities. This will be his 17th overall, 2-2 record. Giving up 2 home runs. Opponents just hitting 180 against him. It's a good opportunity for him to get back out there, continue to work that down the slope, and continuing to sort of fight against that getting rotational that he has a tendency to do.
Yeah, for Dan, mid to upper 90s with his fastball and a hard slider. I have to say, the first inning that you were talking about, Ryan, for Felix was tough, but after that he really settled down and pitched a nice ball game. Gave up the 1 unearned run after that, but I thought he and Fulmer matched up pretty nice after that first inning.
Yeah, he did, and obviously that big run in the 5th inning, when again another 2-strike damage pitch, a situation where you wanted to see him expand. He started to get to 2 strikes, started to get that efficiency. That breaking ball is really good. Although breaking ball is really good, but with Felix, it's just a matter of he'll lose sleep tonight on some of these 2-strike pitches early in this game.
And a good start for Dan to retire the leadoff hitter. And it's Martin, lazy fly ball out to left.
Sometimes you got to tip your cap. I thought that run in the 5th, pretty good at bat by Martinez.
Yeah, very good at bat. Yeah, I think it was 6 foul balls in that at bat.
Yeah,
and I still thought he hit a pretty good pitch that was off the plate away.
Yeah,
he's a guy that's been around for a long time and hit a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, that was a battle. It's amazing how 1 at bat can cost you the entire inning, really, when you think about it. Felix could be still pitching into the 17th, but that 1 at bat gets chewed up by pitch count. Good fastball right there, 97, top of the strike zone.
Feels good tonight.
Yeah, to me, that's a great fastball, but it was set up by that first pitch slider.
Yeah.
I think he's so effective.
Absolutely.
And that slider needs to be there for him. And I know he continues to work on that, but getting that first pitch over with the slider really opens up the heater. And there it is again, upper part of the strike zone. Obviously, again, set up by that first pitch slider that he needs to continue to use. He's got the explosive fastball, and it just runs up and hard. Got no chance at 97 to get on top of that pitch and do anything with it.
Camaro Supermo, you can see elevated the fastball above the belt. Good look at it. Again, 98. Feels good tonight.
When you guys were facing a guy who had 2 pitches, fastball, slider in the bullpen, and they didn't have that good feel for the slider, you can see it all the way from the dugout. Did you just eliminate a pitch and just straight guess on that fastball?
Well, let's get one thing straight. There weren't many guys throwing 98. But yeah, to your point, I think, yeah, I mean, depending on what your history was with that particular guy, you could eliminate a pitch and look in a certain area and go for it.
Yeah, you can eliminate whatever you want. That's 99 on the corner. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Going to elevate here again with that heater. Good opportunity here to use that slider again down below the zone. Always kind of you don't know what he's going to do. His fastball, he's feeling it with his fastball right now. Maybe he won't go to the slider, but it's a good opportunity for one. But we'll see what they decide to do.
I might call for the
slider. Yeah.
In a weak swing.
Good inning for Dan right there.
Today. Cars there at the corner of 5th and Spring honking at that guy. And trust me, he's never been in that Seattle Public Library. I know that guy, and he's never been in that library. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Dan Fulmer's facing these guys now for the 3rd time in Cruz, Seager, Healy. These hitters, what's different? What can they do this 3rd time up against Fulmer to try to get something going, maybe throw him off his rhythm a little bit here?
Well, we've seen that they've been a little bit more aggressive early in the count, trying to get swings early, but Fulmer's just been making quality pitch after quality pitch, even first pitch.
And he dumps that slider in for a strike.
Exactly. So it's been a tough night for the Mariner hitters, but time is running low here. They've got to get something going.
You see the numbers too. 3rd time through the order, opponents hitting 395. So this is the weak spot for Michael Fulmer. 3rd time through, Nelson Cruz back from the toe injury. Sticking with that slider.
Well, 70 pitches, 50 strikes for him.
That's awesome.
22 batters, 16 first pitch strikes with 95 to 97 and a slider at 86. I mean, talk about getting to him. You're going to have something to really help yourself out. We saw the base hit by Gamble. We saw Heredia get hit. Somebody needs to follow that up with another base hit, and then hopefully somebody can walk into one to get you back into the ball game. Because where he's sitting right now with his pitch count, he looks as if he's going to go all the way, at least 8 innings at 72 pitches right now. So you're going to have to make your own break against him.
This is where they're saying a bloop and a blast to get you right back in. It really is.
Because it can be difficult to bunch hits together with the way that he's going tonight.
I thought your point last inning, Ryan, about him having to pitch from the stretch for, he just hasn't had to do that. That didn't bother him a little.
Didn't phase him at all.
I mean, he was just right on point.
It's the start right here. It's struggling with 2 strikes.
That's interesting. This is where the game has changed, and I know Nelson is as dangerous as anybody in the league, but you have a 4-run lead, right? And you're throwing 95 to 97. You throw him a 3-2 breaking ball to walk him. That's something that, to me, I'm surprised at. And again, I know how dangerous Nelson is, and I understand not wanting to throw him a fastball in the middle of the plate, but sometimes the score and where you're at in the game would dictate that.
Well, 2 things. One, he hasn't thrown many fastballs on the middle of the plate. Yes. He's been very good about locating his fastball. And 2, even if Nelly Cruz squares one up, barrels it, hits it out of the ballpark, you're still up 4-1 with no damage.
I will say
but now you walk him on that pitch, and let Kyle walk up there, and Kyle just missed hitting one out his last time up.
That's
took the right fielder to the warning track.
Right.
I will say this: as much as it is important to pitch to contact, sometimes when you get into that mode where you're like, all right, I've got a big lead here, I'm just going to challenge, you get away from your game plan. You really do. A guy like Michael Fulmer, who's got plus stuff, he's got a plus command right now. For him, he's probably treating this game like it's nothing to keep pushing through, the 7th inning.
Well, I hope this is the opportunity for the Mariners, especially with Kyle up there. They have a hole on the right side of the infield. Typically, you would see the shift here, but because there's a base runner, back-to-back innings for the Mariners to have a leadoff hitter on.
I mean, there we go again, Ryan. He's in the stretch. And he's 0-2.
Yeah.
I mean, he just hasn't missed a beat. Stretcher windup.
And his tempo has stayed the same too. You notice he hasn't slowed up. He hasn't over-processed in between pitches. It's that situation too. When you're looking at the lineup right now, you're starting to head towards the end of the lineup, and it's amazing. Robinson Cano, with the loss of him, that losing that one guy, how it shifts everything around. Mitch Haniger, usually you're about to see Mitch Haniger in a situation like this as we get further down the lineup. He's moved up to that 3rd spot, really shuffles everything around. The good thing for the Mariners, you're looking at Ryan Healy, big home run threat. Kyle Seager can get on right here and change the game.
He's lost a little shape to his slider. He's missed with that 3-2. Missed with that one right there to Kyle. Another one where he's sort of missing up and away to the left-hander or up and into a right-handed hitter. Could be spinning off. Could be gripping it tight.
It could be what Ryan was talking about with the numbers the 3rd time through the lineup for whatever reason. But you're right. There's not much bite to that breaking ball now, where it was just nasty earlier in the game. And a good fastball for him. Hit 94 in the middle of the plate.
And that was a pitch right there. Even though it was middle of the plate, that was a pitch 3 innings ago, which was getting by the hitter.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, third time through. Sometimes it can mess with your head too. If you do have a glance down at your numbers or you check out your stats on Baseball Reference or whatever it may be, or someone tells you, hey man, you're going to do a better job. A third time through the lineup, it can mess with your head. And maybe this is a situation where he's getting deeper into that game and he's starting to think, oh man, okay, this is that third time through. I need to sharpen up a little bit. I've had a tough May. Those thoughts start speeding up in your head, and that could be a situation right now we're seeing from Michael Fulmer.
And that's exactly why James McCann goes out to the mound right here, to calm things down, kind of remind, you know, Fulmer that he's a ground ball away from 2 outs. Just keep doing what he's been doing. No reason to change anything. Continue to make quality pitches. And a good visit right there by McCann to kind of get his guy down.
But a chance for the Mariners to get back in this ball game.
Yes.
Aggressive on the fastball. Is on the corner. Well located fastball.
I'm going to guess that if he's going to get hurt in this inning, it's going to be with that slider that he's lost a little life on.
Talked about that with Felix too. That cement mix when you try and do a little too much with that pitch.
Well, there's 96 at the top of the zone.
His fastball seems less effective.
Farmer getting loose in the pen. He's now at 83 pitches. The season high is 109, but that's the only time he's reached 100 pitches this year.
Dan, you talked about that hanging slider. This is where those good at-bats come into play, when you can work a guy up against the ropes, put him in that 2-1, that 3-1 count, having those good quality at-bats, making him throw strikes.
Better slider there. 0-2. He had the opportunity to bury it.
Yeah. Able to put that 96 in play, which is huge, especially when you're down 0-2, a situation like that. A strikeout pitcher, Michael Fulmer, looking for that wipeout pitch to keep the runners where they were, but right here, at least able to put that ball in play, push the runners up.
We're talking about Ben Gamble earlier in the game. He picked up a base hit his last time up, had a hit also last night. The swing of the bat much better over the last week or so. Defense is straight up for the Tigers. On the infield, center fielder Martin shading towards left center.
You can see him really relying on that fastball right now. Lots of fastballs through, one slider to Healy, and it was the 0-2 one that he buried. Other than that, fastball, starts gambling out with a fastball.
Well, after Nelson and then Kyle, and when we saw those sliders, they were flat. There wasn't much to them. Exactly. McCann probably is talking to get away from it.
Let's go back to the heater.
He still has a good fastball. The good news is the Mariners also starting to put some pitches on his pitch count. 88 pitches.
There it is.
Yes.
Take advantage of it. Ben swinging much better. That's been the case. He's been kind of moving in this direction. But a clutch base hit, and that's what they need to put some pressure on it. I'll go back to the 3-2 breaking ball to Nelson Cruz. Ended up getting this thing started, but you help the other club out, and you can get right back into the game. Primera Supremo and the fastball out over the plate. It is a ground ball, but it'll find a hole back up the middle. Fastball's up a little bit too. Pretty good swing by Ben, and that's going to be it.
Connecting you to the power of the digital world by BNSF, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By Jack in the Box. This season, the Mariners double play means free jumbo jacks from Jack in the Box. And by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Looking to get that win here, bottom of 7. Mariners still rallying. They've knocked out Michael Fulmer, who was so good. Lights out through 6, allowing just 2 hits. And they get him out with a couple of walks, and the third time through, fights him again and in. Now, guys, one of my favorite names of all relievers, Buck Farmer. He seems to pitch every game too, Ryan.
He does. Brad and I were having a good laugh over at Root Sports in Bellevue during the post-game show with this name, Buck Farmer. Look at that.
Well, you look at his numbers overall, ERA at 3.5, 23 strikeouts and 20 2/3. Pretty good fastball at 94 miles an hour. Slider and changeup, an occasional curveball. But right away, Mike Zunino in a pretty good count. Let's see if he wants to challenge him with the fastball.
So we talked about a bloop and a blast.
Yeah.
Big hit to get the 2 runs, and a blast here would be nice.
Sometimes things will work out for you. This is the first inning where the Mariners had a runner in scoring position the entire game, and then ended up catching it in because of the hit by Ben. There's the fastball right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Mike, to your point, with Nelson Cruz, just that one at bat, that's what makes Nelson Cruz such a tough out. He's a power hitter, but he's not a free swinger at all. Had that grinding at bat, and that set up the entire inning against Fulmer, who was cruising before that at bat. Then we knock him out of the game.
His presence in the middle of the lineup and him being at home plate ended up having him, I believe, throw that 3-2 slider that walked him. And it's because of Nelson's ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And to me, proves why you go at him with a fastball in that situation.
Good at bat. Wow.
And a break for the Mariners, too. Farmer wanted that last pitch. Looked like it was a pretty good fastball at the bottom of the strike zone. Mike even waited at home plate for a split second, but it was called a ball.
Really good at bat against the struggling bullpen, too. This is 19th best in the league. You see your boy Chris Bosio heading out.
They have a left-hander getting loose in the pen. Already walking towards the plate, so they're not going to the lefty yet, but Vaz trying to buy some time to get the lefty squared away. After Heredia, it will be Gordon back at the top of the lineup.
Well, certainly a turn of events here. This is I give a lot of credit to Felix keeping himself and keeping the Mariners in the game, giving them a chance to get into it late, and here we are, 7th inning, we're back in the ball game.
You're absolutely right, Dan, and it's one of those things that we talked about with Felix at the beginning of the game. Once he was able to get through the first inning, take a deep breath, if he could settle down, there's a chance that they come back, even though the opposing pitcher Fulmer is throwing extremely well. Now Felix, if they can come back and tie this game up, won't factor in it. But you'll have to go back and look at those innings after the first that he ended up pitching to give his club an opportunity to get back to it.
Right.
And the other thing, too, you mentioned Fulmer and his struggles third time through the line. The Mariners have been really good from the 7th inning on as far as swinging the bats.
Yeah.
It's been a real plus for them.
And this is the bullpen, too, that can give it up in a hurry.
See Farmer getting ahead there. Didn't get ahead of Zunino. Cost him. I'm sure Boz mentioned that when he went out there to talk to him.
I'm talking about the 7th inning or later, too. There's a number for Heredia, 391 hitter. And he has a hole on the right side of the infield.
Right there. You see Daniel Stump working, warming up for D. Gordon. D. Gordon hits lefties really well, 273, so that's a good matchup for him. Plus, he can create action, put the ball in play, and he can create things, especially with a little bit of speed on the
and his ERA is well over 5, so he's had his struggles this year. Good patient at bat from Heredia.
We've seen this from Heredia a lot more in 2018. Better at bats, putting pitches on the ropes, laying off those borderline pitches.
I think there's something to be said too, Mike, when you faced a guy like Fulmer was tonight, where he's just on his game, he's nails. Guys have seen some really tough pitches. Now Farmer comes in and he's not making those pitches. He's missing by a lot, and to our guys in our eyes, they look like he's missing a lot. I think this has helped them in a big way.
And another good count to get in 3-1.
Ball 4.
He has no idea where the ball's going right now, Buck Farmer. This is a great spot for the Mariners.
10 pitches, just 2 strikes. They're going to make a pitching change.
In any crash, please always buckle up. Help us all reach target 0. Learn more at wadrivetozero.com. While we're looking back at our Players Cast analysts, time for Ryan Rowland-Smith's big debut, June 22nd, 2007, his major league debut on old FSN Northwest. Look at the old graphics. 16-1 game in the 6th, a soft landing for the kid, but he's facing Junior. Oh, the big loop and curve, and he strikes him out. And this is what I like the best. Watch Ryan, he's running, and then, oh, hey, I gotta slow things down, act like I've been here before. I like this, like, he's so excited, but Ryan, take us, I know you've talked a lot about that at bat, but I mean, you're excited to face, obviously, anybody making your debut, but boy, when you get Junior, what are you thinking?
Well, Brad, first of all, as you were showing that replay, Dan Wilson to my right was pointing at the score. It said 16-1 Cincinnati Reds, so I did not factor into the game whatsoever. But no, special moment for me getting a chance to face the legend Ken Griffey Jr. here at Safeco. But I did get booed, but that was fun, getting a chance to strike him out to kick it off.
72 on the curve. Nice.
You see that movement? I think it's a pitch metrics. There's a spin rate on that thing. Didn't have that back then.
He has some options here, swinging at the first pitch, but good speed with Gamble at third and Heredia at first. Tag up. Good at bat. Pick up another run. And another pitching change, but the Mariners get within a run.
The Twins at 7:10. The first 10,000 fans will receive a free T-shirt featuring speedy leadoff man D. Gordon. It's all brought to you by Alaska Airlines. Reserve your seats at Mariners.com. Another pitching change, bottom of 7. The Mariners 2 on, 2 out, and then within 1 at 4-3. Silver Bullet Saturday, new and improved. Join the party in the pen on Saturday. Download the Coors Light Rewards app and win exciting prizes. Plus, fans 21 and older get $8 20-ounce Coors Light drafts at the Coors Light Rail Bar up until first pitch. That is a good deal. And hey, tomorrow happens to be Saturday, guys, so perfect time to come on out in the pen. Now Segura up, facing, an Aussie, Ryan's buddy, Mr. Supol.
Fellow Aussie Warwick Supol throws 4 different pitches, primarily the fastball slider. The Mariners see quite a bit of Warwick. Wazza, Supol from Perth, Australia. I got a chance to play with Warwick in the WBC last year. He's been having a good year here with the Detroit Tigers. He's got a tough assignment. That Gene Segura, 373 runners in scoring position. This is a great spot for the Mariners.
I was just going to say, if you wanted a guy from the Mariner lineup in this situation to try to tie the game, it'd be Gene Segura. Loves hitting with men in scoring position, Blow.
And since April 19th, he's even better than that, well over 400 with runners in scoring position. And he swung the bat well again tonight. The base hit his first time up, lined out to the center fielder and flew out deep to right.
So good count here, too.
And he will do that, use the entire field.
See the numbers on Warwick's uphold, pitching in higher leverage situations this year as opposed to coming up last year. 2.30 ERA. It's in a tough spot here, though.
It's been interesting watching the Tigers that they really don't move their defense around too much outside of Martin in center field, which he'll shade either to right center or left center. Typically they're playing straight up. See Martin towards right center with Segura hitting. Mariners are 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Not many opportunities. Gamble driving in 2 runs, and then Gordon after that with a sac fly. Back up the middle.
There it is. Come on, Z.
Martin's got a great arm.
There he is. Fired it up.
He has been unbelievable with runners in scoring position. He just continues to hit. Mariners with some really good at-bats, including Mike Zunino, who was able to work a walk. And then it was Heredia after that, also a walk. But Gene Segura always aggressive at the plate. And he ends up getting a pitch up, out, over the plate. Primera Supremo, a good look at the slider. And he hammers it right back up the middle. Really good jump by Mike Zunino. Again with Martin. He has one of the best outfield throwing arms. You're going to see this ball end up the line. Probably didn't have a real good grip on it.
Yeah, Gene Segura is so tough to pitch against guys. Even if it's borderline pitches and you still make your pitch, still able to put good swings on. You mentioned it too, using the whole field.
Dan, he's one of those guys, you just can't set him up.
No.
It doesn't matter. We've seen him hit pitches up and in, down and away, off the plate. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's what makes those guys so difficult to pitch to, and that's why they're good in those situations. There is no easy way to get to them.
That's why he can get 200 hits in a year, too.
Take a look. Take a look at Scott Brocious. Look how far down the line he comes, and he is waving him hard. I love it. It's not easy scoring Big Z from second base on a base hit.
Steam truck.
It's awesome.
What are you saying? Catcher?
Yeah, he's slow. We're slow. I don't know how
You get an inside the park home run earlier. Great jump by Mike Zunino out at second.
Did you see the 6 guys fall down in the outfield?
I did. I just wanted to leave that alone. Like bowling pins out there.
What a comeback. This is awesome.
That is great. And then a good pitch for him to hit. 92 miles an hour on the fastball. But it's amazing this game, how quickly things can turn. And we were just saying, just get a break somewhere along the way as you take a look at Michael Fulmer. Really great stuff tonight. But this inning ended up getting to him, and it goes all the way back to Nelson Cruz leading things off on a 3-2 breaking ball to get the walk and eventually scores. It was back-to-back walks too. Kyle Seager also walking. So 4 walks for the Mariners in this inning.
And this is Haney's the 9th hitter in the inning.
There you go, back to the 6, and you're staring down the barrel of probably a complete game from Michael Foreman. It really comes down to that one at bat, and that's the one you'll lose sleep on every time you go back to that body of work and you go back to your night.
It's funny how it can change, because it was looking like it was going to be one of the best pitching performances we've seen this year against the Mariners, and everything fell apart.
Yeah, to me as a catcher, I would go back to that pitch you're talking about, Mike. The 3-2 pitch to Cruz here. Why they didn't go to that heater. And with a 4-run lead in that point in the ball game, to me, that's everything. And I would be replaying that over and over again.
I'm not going to lie to you. You could see a graphic earlier in the game. When he got to 5 strikeouts, his career high was 9. And I was thinking in my head, didn't want to say it, obviously, but you're thinking in your head, okay, this is going to be double digits first time this year for Michael Fulmer. Man, knocked him out with this in the 7th.
And the other part too is obviously you're down at that time 4-0, and you need base runners. And we saw some patient at bats from the guys in the middle of the lineup to get things started. But I think it's great too, because you still need somebody to come up with the clutch hit, and for Ben Gamble to get the base hit, the second base hit of the game, is great to see also. There it is.
Take the lead.
And Mitch is going to get into second base. Good base running. Had his head up the entire way. And what an at bat. 6 pitches. And lines it down into the corner, hitting 3rd in the lineup.
Man, Does that spark the energy in that dugout? That's what you love about this Mariners team. It doesn't matter, you're down by 4, my performers dealing, able to just chip away. You can see that energy. Look at this.
And now 3 for 4, hitting with runners in scoring position in the game. Great look at the Primera Super Bowl in the swing. Solid line drive. Jacoby Jones, the left fielder, came up trying to throw in the run towards third, and Mitch going around first base, had his head up the entire time. And as soon as he saw that, he took off for second. And the Mariners now hit around. It was Nelson Cruz that started this inning.
We talked about the absence. We've talked about the absence of Cano, but every guy in this lineup in this particular inning has done their job, Mike, and they haven't gone above and beyond. They've just done their job, and that's what's going to take, and that's why it's a team game in the end.
Especially Ben Gamble too. Even the way he's swinging the bat. He's a guy who hasn't been doing what he's been pressing and hasn't been quite living up to what he's capable of doing. And we talked about too the absence of Mitch Haniger down the back end of that lineup. When you've got to put Haniger up in that third spot, but man, what in that bat, that base hit up the middle is huge.
Well, and the other part about it is because Ben was able to get it done last year and posted some numbers. I was here for a long period of time to do that. You have to trust that it's going to get turned around, and sometimes that's hard to do as a coaching staff and a manager, is to trust in what's happening. But you could see him trending. I asked Scott Service a week ago, and he said, you know what, he's hitting some bad luck lately, but he's started to get on the fastballs. Timing's better, and we're seeing it. What an inning. Mariners come back and score 5 runs to take the lead, moving into the top of the 8th.
Join us for Nelson Cruz Pop Collectible Night presented by Funko on Saturday, June 2nd. The first 20,000 fans will receive this unique collectible of the baseball crushing DH, with 23 lucky fans taking home this special edition version of the boomstick in all silver. For tickets, visit mariners.com. Pop Collectible as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Mariners put up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 7th and now lead 5-4. Brad Adam with you here at the Ford Sports Desk. Let's take a look now at the rest of the AL scores. Time for our Snoqualmie Casino around the league. A's beat the Jays again. Orioles over the Red Sox. The Brewers take care of the Twins. Rangers big over the White Sox. Astros at home over the Indians. The Royals beat the Yankees by a score of 5-2. Not on there, the Angels at home against the Rays. They are trailing. So a good chance for the Mariners to pick up another game on the Angels as we go to the top of the 8th inning. And good to see Juan Nicasio in there, guys, who Mariners obviously want him to be the 8th inning guy. has had good success, faltered a little bit his last couple of turns. See if he can iron some things out here tonight.
Well, you're right, Brad, and right now he's in a high leverage situation here in the 8th inning. He's going to get the middle of the lineup, starting with Victor Martinez. A couple of fastballs at 93 at the top of the zone. That's something that we've seen from him quite a bit. I'd like to see the velocity continue to climb up as he gets comfortable here with the strike zone, Ryan.
Yeah, and we talked about Juan Nicasio with his struggles, maybe starting off with that conversation with Mel Stottlemyre, and then working some things out in the bullpen, then maybe getting him into low leverage situations. Man, turning right back into the fire, and looks good. The biggest thing though in this situation, you can't overprocess. You guy like Juan Nicasio with plus stuff. The minute you get out on that mound, it's just muck through with your hair on fire. Everything you got, attack, attack, attack.
And Dan, I think sometimes, and we've all been through it, when you've had some struggles and you feel like you're letting your team down, and you take things like that to heart, and you're trying to get it back on track. And to Ryan's point, it's great to see him come out there. Mike calling for the fastball. He's been very aggressive here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, similar to what we saw at the field, he's going to need that slider at some point here, but he's really riding that fastball hard right now.
And he has a good fastball. We wanted the velocity to jump up, and we've seen it. First couple at 93, that one at 95 at the top of the strike zone.
Yeah, you know, you talk about high leverage situation, a guy that's maybe, you know, not on his game right now. Getting a hold in this situation and giving it to Diaz with the score the same is a big lift and a big confidence builder for a guy like this right now.
Yeah, huge. That's a good slider right there. That's a good sign as well. We talked about that slider getting him into trouble when we saw this too with Dan Altavilla, and you're facing a guy with 2 pitches, and you can eliminate a pitch, and you can sit on that heater from Juan Nicasio. He's being missing middle, but that's a really good sign. That slider just stay right there with that pitch.
I think that slider is a pitch that he throws for a ball. Throw it down out of the strike zone, because when he's pumping 95 at the top of the strike zone, it's hard to lay off of that pitch. Barely getting a piece of it right there. You don't need to throw it for a strike. Well, that's good hitting right there. What, 96 miles an hour just off the outside corner.
Martinez again, true to form, fouling stuff off, just trying and waiting until he gets a mistake that's more on the middle of the plate. This guy has put some really good at bats on his time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He and Felix earlier had a really good bat.
You notice that in today's game, though, it doesn't matter 2 strikes, everyone's still taking huge hacks, especially these young guys. Big leg kick, big hacks.
And ready to get to it? Yes, he can. What a jump.
And you know what, regardless of the contact and the result, obviously you want to try and put him away with 2 strikes, but you know what, it's an out. Juan Nicasio has to build off that.
That's a win. I think that you start to gain confidence. Primera Supermo in the range of Heredia. No problem covering the right field gap. No problem at all.
Good job. Good sequencing right there. Fastballs were up. Fastballs were away through the 1 slider down. That fastball, they tried to go in, and it just did get in enough on Martinez. Because he had seen all those fastballs away, it jammed him just a hair, kept it in the ballpark.
And his velo 95-96. That pitch right on the outside corner.
You got to love this because you can see his confidence growing with every single pitch.
Absolutely. Good tempo, right back on the mound.
How much of a difference is it that he's a veteran guy and he's been through some struggles from time to time?
I mean, that's everything.
That has to help.
That's
right?
everything. Yeah. I mean, as a young player, when you're constantly questioning whether you belong here, whether you're, you know, what your role is going to be, those things take your mind away from execution, and he's just on execution right now.
Shaking off to get to that slider. That's a good sign too. Good one. That's a pitch. You know, even though it puts him back into 2-1, it's still that good dive on that pitch. Gets off that same plane as that fastball.
Got a lot of depth to that slider.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Would you go back to it?
I'd go heater here.
Locate away.
Yep.
And a good fastball right on the outside corner. That part of it too. We're talking about the high leverage, but it's a couple of dangerous hitters that he was able to get out to start this inning, and to build confidence, you have to be able to do that. As you look at the Primera Supremo and the swing, that is right on the outside corner. You have to give Hicks some credit. Again, hitting a pretty good pitch at 95.
And I guess this too is where some of the scouting reports come into play. John Hicks, most of his home runs are going to be left center or to his pull side. And in a situation like that, you're going to make him beat you the other way. If he hits a home run the other way, you kind of tip your cap to him, and that's what they did. They challenged him away and just did not have enough to get it out of the ballpark.
Goodrum with that big RBI double back in the first inning off Felix. Thought that was going to be the difference in this game, the way Michael Foreman was doing his thing, but man, what bottom of the seventh from the Seattle Mariners. Good pitch. That's that conviction too. That's that feeling when you see Mike Zunino sit up down and away, and you have that feeling. All right, here it is. Wham! Hit it. You don't try and put everything under a microscope. Another good one. Look at that. Good extension. And sometimes when you're struggling, you can fall into that result of, okay, I don't want to make that mistake. What if he does this? What if he does that? There's no second guessing on these pitches. He's just getting right back up there, back into that zone.
15 pitches, 11 strikes.
Really nice job by Z right there, getting both of those pitches.
Yeah.
He does such a good job of that, especially that pitch there that's running away from the lefty.
Challenge it.
96. He has a good fastball tonight.
Again, you've seen a lot of pitches away, a lot of hard stuff away. That one more up and away. Sets up that slider down and in at the back foot if he wants to, or he can continue to use that fastball. Again, like we saw with Fulmer, as he lost his slider, he really got the lean on his fastball and got confidence in it. It looks like Nicasio has a lot of confidence in that fastball. They're going back to it.
Nice.
There it is.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Fans, as we continue our annual Ultimate Fan Contest this season, we would like to extend an invitation to all Northwest sports fans to join us on July 7th at Safeco Field. Receive a view-level ticket and your choice of an Ultimate Northwest t-shirt for just $19 or a main level seat and t-shirt for $37 when you purchase through this special offer. For details, visit mariners.com/ultimate. And guys, we have seen this game turn completely around in the last couple of half innings, especially that bottom of the seventh. Mariners down 4-0, guys. Put up a 5 spot and now lead at 5-4.
Well, with this club, all you need is a little bit of hope, and the Mariners able to do it, but they finish it off with this. Again, Mitch Haniger hitting third in the lineup. Picks up this base hit. Go-ahead run. Exit velocity at 107. That is hitting it right on the button. And then how about some outfield play? Great break by Heredia. Catch possibility at 38%. He had that in his back pocket. No problem at all.
Great route right there. It just goes to show too. And obviously with stack cast, you get a chance to see, obviously catch probability, whatever that means, but you get to see these good routes from these outfielders make such a difference, because that's a play that if you're not making that perfect route, you have to come around it and cut that ball off.
Yeah, you saw his break right away, and just a direct route, which is something we're used to seeing from him now. Now, how about a little bit of add-on? Kyle Seager also in the 7th inning had a walk right after Nelson did. For Coleman, his fastball on average this year 89 miles an hour. Fastball, slider, an occasional changeup from him.
That's a guy that did some damage to back in Detroit.
Skip the rope. I was glad to see the highlight on Heredia out there in center field, because I think defense is what we've seen. Some great at bats for the Mariners, don't get me wrong, but defense is what got us back in this ball game. If you remember back in the 2nd inning, Kyle Seager made that incredible start to the double play. I think that's what got Felix back in the ball game, and things have really turned around since that point in the ball game for defensively for the Mariners.
It's amazing how unnoticed that can go, good defense, because you're looking at adding another 10 pitches to that pitch count for your starting pitcher. That changes the dynamic from your bullpen late in the game. Also, it would create another situation where Felix would have to pitch out of another jam.
Well, we talked about it earlier for Felix, that I've just seen it so many times over the years, where if other clubs are going to get to the good ones, it's going to be early. And we saw that today with Felix in the first, but see him just settle down so many times, and he really pitched well today after that, to give him a chance to get back in this ball game. And now you're also getting an idea of the arms that they have out in their pen. With Dan back now, he was throwing 95 to 98 with a pretty good slider after Felix was out of the game, and then Nicasio. And the thing with we saw Cook last night, he's going to help them a lot. He was really good last night at 96 on the corner, but he's still not there yet to where I think they're going to pitch him in back-to-back days. It might take a little bit of time. And then you also have Nick Vincent. Nick had pitched. I'm sure he wasn't available today. He's pitched, I think, 5 out of 6 days. So I'm sure he wasn't available. So it was big. Nicasio had to get it done, and he was able to. That is. You can get those guys rolling like that. To get the ball to that man right there, Edwin Diaz, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Yeah,
and that's another guy too, James Pazos. When you talk about bridging the gap, a guy who can go multiple innings, but. You said it to him, Ryan Cook. What a breath of fresh air that was.
Great story.
Great story when you hear the last 3 innings. And Dan, you mentioned too that he'd been doing that for a while. I was expecting 89, 90. A guy's come back from a couple arm surgeries, trying to figure it out. But man, that was impressive. 95, 96. This guy was an all-star a couple of years ago. So you can start bridging that gap and get those pieces. Replace Phelps. Replace some of those pieces in the middle of and get to Edwin Diaz.
But to your point, Mike, I'd take a little add-on.
Good swing by Kyle.
It's a tough play for a pitcher, and I'm not being biased here by any means, but Coleman busting over there. Then you got a pretty weird angle. The ball's gotten by the first baseman, and Coleman able to turn, make a really good play, especially after that ball got through the first baseman. Good play by Machado, the second baseman. One paying attention. He was assuming the first baseman was going to make the play, but then the ball was able to come to him, and he makes a pretty good throw to make the play a little bit easier for Coleman. Right there in great shape. Yeah. Yep. I've been caught at times standing there just observing and realizing I need to get over there, bust over there as quick as I can. But it can be tough too when you're running that line. And again, you practice this a ton in spring training, but when you have to do it at game speed and it's May, you haven't done this for a while.
Wow, I haven't seen this. And a bunt for a base hit.
Pretty good bunt. In fact, he deadened it just a little bit too much. And had he been able to get it a little further out, he'd been in better shape.
Yeah, not a bad idea. The third baseman was playing back, but just didn't get it down the line far enough.
Ryan, back to what you were saying. That's why every time the ball goes down on the right side, you hear a catcher scream and get over there, get over there. It's so ingrained in our head.
Yeah, I've heard the screaming, and I just have a deer in headlights. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not the fastest guy either. I have to get over there quick, and oh man, it's embarrassing if you're not over there in time. That's for sure.
Well, it's funny because Mike, you mentioned that Detroit doesn't shift all that much, and that's the one guy that they shifted, and that's what allowed them to make that out.
Really good to see Ben Gamble with a couple of hits.
And a couple of RBIs too. A big part of that 7th inning. Good at bat. Was down 2 strikes.
Three ground ball outs. We will go to the 9th inning. Edwin Diaz on his way into the ball game. See what's next for tomorrow. James Paxton again. Another good pitching matchup. Paxton really thrown the ball well this year. Mike Fiers is going to go for the Tigers. The Mariners familiar with him when he was with Houston. The Pax, what a year he is having. Opponents hitting just .206 against him.
Yeah, and a 16 strikeout performance and a no-hitter last time out. It's going to be fun to watch him tomorrow. And here he is, Eddie Diaz. It's always a fun time when you get a chance to see this guy pitch. 2.11 ERA. He has struck out 38 of the 83 batters he's faced. Opponents hitting 0.99 against him. It's pretty good.
Fastball in the upper 90s, may touch 100, and a hard slider.
Hitters aren't even on the interstate with him. That's impressive. Well, another guy we talked about. It's got the great fastball. We've seen it, but really sets it up well with that slider, and that's a key for him. And You know, we talked about it with Aldavila. We talked about it with Nicasio. Same is true with Diaz. He's got to have that slider as well.
Solid base hit for McCann. All the outfielders are playing deep just in front of the warning track, trying to stay away from the double. Primera Supermo. It's going to be on the fastball. Rushes it to the inside corner. A little bit of run to it. Jams him. Soft line drive in to center.
If there's one guy you're going to guess against, it's this guy, Eddie Diaz. You mentioned that slider too. 2017, when you had that big breakout year, you still see him fall in love with that slider when he got in trouble, where he felt like he had to go back to that pitch.
Pete Kozma on the pinch run.
Well, like we saw with Felix, they were very aggressive early on.
Nothing has changed. Yeah, nothing has changed. You want to throw strikes early, but they have to be quality strikes with a club like this. That will wake you up. 97. Iglesias. A couple big hits against the Mariners so far. Primera Supermo, two-seamer at 97, puts him on his back.
He's got that extra face guard, but that is uncomfortable. Especially when you're diving out over the plate, trying to be aggressive, trying to see something out over the middle, and you get that at your head.
Well, you can see Z was set up on the outside corner. Just one of those pitches that kind of gets away from you a little bit as a pitcher. You rotate out a little bit. Ball runs up and in on the hitter. Z out to kind of just.
That's typical for Edwin. That's why I see it out there right away.
Absolutely.
Good fastball, 97 miles an hour. Kyle Seager guarding the line over at third. Again, trying to stay away from the double.
This might be a good opportunity for that slider. Either for the swing and the miss for a strikeout, or if he makes contact, maybe we get that double play that we're looking for. Stayed with the heater.
Up and in.
His best fastball at 99.
Yeah, you go to that slider. You have to in this situation. Get a punch out right here. I think what that does
you
too.
You got to bury it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Plus, it puts that good slider in the back of the mind, the guy on deck as well.
And there was the slider ended up in the middle of the plate. For a big out.
Yeah, it really was. And you see Edwin Diaz, even Edwin Diaz with the stuff he has, getting away with one. That's more of a BP speed on that slider. And again, just trying to do a little bit too much. That's that pitch you want to bury. Left out, up, out over the plate. Iglesias super aggressive, got off the end of the bat just enough.
Mikey Montook going to pinch hit. Hit for Machado. Nothing changes for the defense. All the outfielders are playing deep. Kyle still guarding the line at third, even with the bag. Kozma takes off.
Good throw by Z right there. Wow.
They tried him all day long, and then when they needed him to make a play, Dan, it is money time right there.
That was outstanding, and it's such a key point in the ball game. Wow. See Z, he sees right now he's taking off. Good transfer right there, and puts the ball right on the money.
They really had a shoulder turn quickly.
Yeah, good shoulder turn. I'll tell you what, Segura had the ball, was waiting for the runner to get there. That's a big time throw out right there.
There's a slider you wanted to see, Ryan.
There you go. On that play too, Eddie Diaz wasn't quick to the plate. You talked about 1.3 seconds. He had that high leg kick. He was still a little slow to the plate, but man, Mike Zunino can beat you in so many different ways, offensively and defensively, stealing strikes, throwing guys out. Man, what a throw that was.
Make a play, Dan. Never mind. Stay in the booth. Good enough to get one of those thumb things, you know what I mean?
Got him right where he wants him. 0-2. There it is. Outstanding. There's the slider. Gentlemen, really enjoyed this one. A little bit of everything in this ball game. Some great defense, including that throw by Mike Zunino right there. But really the story is the offense coming back from such a big deficit and with a guy who was absolutely dealing. What a great night up and down the lineup, and for all the guys that were a part of this one, a team effort all around.
Yeah, and you said too, Michael Fulmer was in absolute cruise control, and that is that's a huge sign of such a good offense when they're able to get to a guy like Michael Fulmer, an all-star pitcher, a guy who's locked in, and they just kept grinding away that at bat. The offense again was so big tonight.
So was the bullpen. The bullpen was terrific, but I also have to give Felix a lot of credit. It was tough in the first inning, but once he was through that, he was able to keep the score there, hold things down, just one unearned run after that. I thought he was also a big key along with all the great hits, and this is something we've seen from this club now, a team that is hitting pitching late in games. That is something that's going to scratch you an extra win or two over the course of the summer. But what a lot of fun it was tonight, guys. Our first time out with this. Ryan, it was great. Again, the best was fantastic.
Yes.
And Dan, you were terrific tonight, so it was a lot of fun, to do this. And we were treated to a great ball game. It looked like it was going to be a dominating performance by the Tigers, but again, the Mariners late in this one ended up taking care of business. What a terrific ball game. So with that, we'll send it out to Brad. Brad?
All right, gentlemen, thank you. We talked about Ryan's vest. How about his tie, though? It's a well put together outfit. So players cast getting it done and having a lot of talk about in that seventh inning, Bill. Like they were talking about, everybody watching this game, it's like Fulmer's just dealing, no chance, and then everything flips. The offense goes through up and down the lineup. Let's get down to the field and join Angie Mentic standing by with just one of the guys coming through in that seventh inning.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Here with Mitch Haniger. And Mitch, tie ball game, you give the team the lead. Tell me what you have to tell yourself in that situation.
Just calm myself down and trying to get a good pitch and swing the bat hard. The guys before me in the lineup did an unbelievable job just grinding at bats and getting hits and drawing walks, so hats off to our whole lineup.
Yeah, the traffic really kept going there in the seventh inning. Give us an idea of what it was like to be a part of that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, just trying to swing at good pitches, and I think really grinding those at bats out, and drew a couple key walks and then a couple big hits from us, so it was huge.
You know, the skipper said before this game that the one thing that you guys needed to do collectively was swing at strikes, stay within the zone. Is that what we saw late in this game and after you guys knocked Fulmer out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just let the pitcher come to us and swing the bat and hit the ball hard, and like you said, swing at strikes and draw walks. That was big, and I kept the inning going.
It seemed like this is more indicative of the team that we saw early on this season. You guys are down by 4, and it's just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always nothing, but we just have the warrior mentality of always fighting, and we're in a game until the last out's made, so that's kind of what we stuck by, and it was good to get the win.
Hey, Mitch, you're batting third. D. Gordon is out there playing second. Is there an idea and a mindset that one person isn't going to be able to fill Robbie's void, and you guys are going to have to do this collectively?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just stick together as a team and play the game hard and take one day at a time and one game at a time, and I think we're doing a good job.
Fantastic job tonight, Mitch. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mitch Haniger, and guys, turnabout's fair play. I mean, you know, the Detroit Tigers took one in the 8th last night. Mariners do it in the 7th tonight.
A little earlier. We appreciate that, Ange. Thank you very much. So no bottom of the 9th, so we like that. No late inning drama. 7th inning, they go through, they bat through the lineup. And I tell you what, the 7th inning, Mike Blowers talked about it. I know that you were thinking the same thing. It starts with a 3-2. Walk to Cruz, and then Gamble coming through, a huge hit for him, 2 runs. It's 4-2, and now you got some life, Bill.
You feel the momentum shift right there, particularly as the appetite for bullpen pitching in baseball. You knew the starter was coming out, and the Mariners were able to take advantage of maybe the softer part of the Detroit Tiger bullpen. They weren't able to go from Fulmer to Jimenez. That's the difference in the game. They took advantage of guys that are on the second tier, and were able to put a huge rally together. A lot of guys coming through. Segura swung the bat good all night. Of course, got the game even, and then Haniger and the slider hits the ball to left field. He's been terrific all season long to drive in that 5th run and give the Mariners a lead. Boy, from last night to tonight, big change, big swing, and you never saw it coming because Fulmer was just dominant for 6 innings. 7 strikeouts, 2 hits. He was just overwhelmed with the competition. Reminding me a lot of the game that Paxton pitched against Oakland, where he was just slamming the door, and then shift went the other direction when he came out of the game, much like it did with Fulmer.
Exactly right. That 7th inning to start again. Cruz walks, Seager walks. Fulmer comes out, and then the Mariners just put together, you know, as you saw and said, good at-bats against that bullpen. A complete 180 when Fulmer comes out of this game. The Mariners take it, again, by a score of 5-4. So we have lots of good highlights to show you, lots of more reaction to get to here from the skipper as well here on the postgame show, and show you some defense of Kyle Seager. Boy, how about this play? He started a great double play as well, robbing Castellanos of extra bases. Gets up so quick. An accurate throw to first. The Gold Glover getting it done. Mariners take it 5-4. Keep it here. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines.